And CNC3 News can reveal that San Fernando City Councillors, past and present, have received multi-million-dollar CPEP contracts. Joshua Simongal investigates.
Two separate companies owned by a current San Fernando City Corporation councillor and a former councillor received CPEP contracts worth close to $10 million from 2020, the Guardian Media Investigative Desk can reveal. The first company, Kudos Cleaning Maintenance Company Limited, is owned by PNM's Monrepo Navet councillor Nigel Cotier and a close female relative. Between February 2022 and March 2023, Kudos Cleaning received two contracts worth $3.7 million. The first contract was a one-year agreement from February 2022. The second contract is a 6-year deal signed in March 2023. Cotier was elected as a San Fernando councillor in the 2019 local government elections. He was re-elected in 2023. CNC3 News wrote the Integrity Commission seeking to find out whether Cotier filed Kudos Cleaning in his public life documents. The commission said it could not legally share the information. The Integrity Commission mandates that all public life persons must file income, liabilities, and registrable interests annually. A second company, Marisho Maintenance Limited, was awarded $6.7 million in contracts between March 2020 and 2023. As of 2018, Marisho Maintenance lists its directors as former Marabella West Councillor Jennifer Marisho and her daughter Jamila Marisho St. Hill. Jennifer was a former Southwest Regional Health Authority Director, while Jamila was the PNM's candidate for Marabella West in the 2023 local government elections. The contracts were signed despite the company being struck off from the company registry. When a company is struck off, it can no longer legally engage in business activities, as it ceases to be a legal entity. CNC3 News sought comment from the councillor, Cotier, and Mayor Robert Paris, but did not get one. Marisho Director Jamila Marisho St. Hill told CNC3 News that she had nothing to say on the issue. Councillor Cotier, however, found time to upload and post a video to his Facebook page. In announcing a full audit of CPEP in early June, Public Utilities Minister Barry Padarath accused the PNM of using CPEP as a means to reward party loyalists. He claims some contractors received as much as $50,000 monthly in management fees. Joshua Simongal, CNC3 News.
In response,
Good evening, TNT family. Welcome back to Yellow is the Code on UNC USA. I have my friend here, Mr. Suman Singh, and we, as usual, our other friends will join us later in the program. So, Mr. Singh, I would like to get your input and views on what we just saw there. I mean, it's more and more is being exposed, and I mean, this is very large sums of money that we cannot take very lightly. And this is, as you know, there has been a long history of this kind of conduct under the PNM, but yet they had the audacity to pound and abuse Mrs. Bisesa and the UNC for the last 10 years. So I'd like to get a little bit of feedback on your perspective, what you see happening here.
Sure, Gary. Welcome to all our listeners and viewers on our platform and on your social media platforms as well. Well, that what we saw just now is nothing really new. We knew all along that is PNM and the various state apparatus was a feeding trough for friends and family and supporters, campaign managers, senior PNM officials. They were privy to all contracts that were part of this. Can you continue, Gary? I have to do something now.
Go ahead, I'm listening to you.
Yes, Gary, sorry about that interruption. Anyway, it shows that they were privy to all of these things. They kept quiet. Nobody knew how these contracts originated, what was the screening process, what were the amounts paid. In fact, one of the persons had their contract extended up to 6 years from 2023. That makes it to 2029. How can somebody be evaluated down in the future? I can't seem to understand that. In other words, contract were given and extended automatically without being evaluated after a specific period of time. Then again, one rule for the PNM and one rule for others. So, with that in mind, with that in mind, now, sorry, yes. So nobody knew the intricacies of these contracts. So what have you is that was a free fall. Once you're a PNM party member, or PNM party organizer, or a campaign manager in some cases, or representative for constituency, you went up for election purposes, you were privy and were eligible for contracts. So then again, upon the investigation by the minister in charge, Mr. Padirat, of these contracts, he did the right thing. He nullified all of them, the contractors, pending an evaluation. So this is the right format it should take. In other words, there must be a screening of all contractors. It must not be done through a personal and private selective process. That's how I look at it.
Uh,
Yes,
we have a long history of this kind of activity with PNM, and you could understand why they fought so hard to keep the UNC or the government, because they had a lot to hide. And I mean, I think there's much more to be exposed as we go into government. And I see Barry and Marvin butting heads there, and Marvin trying every which way to make all sorts of accusation against our Minister of Public Utilities. And Marvin could never come close with performance in comparison to Barry or any one of our ministers that he's trying to criticize, because they had 10 years and we had 10 years of catastrophe, of chaos, of people suffering for goods and services under their watch. So these people, in my perspective, is totally shameless, and we have to do everything to make sure that they do not see the corridors of government again totally. So we definitely have to to maintain our course of direction, and I think Barry and our team is doing a very excellent job in what they have done in such a very short time
yes,
frame being in
yes,
government. So I am really
yes, yes.
proud to see the work that they're doing on all sides.
Thoroughly agreed. Thoroughly agreeing with you, Gary. And you know, at some time or the other, people have to face up to the truth. The country could not afford, and still is, you cannot afford to go through this hardship that we were put through over the last 10 years of PNM.
But they're seeing that trying to bully Kamala, and was trying to derail the population with the election here. Where's she going to get the money? She can't deliver all she's promising. Well, hear what? We're going to cut the robbery of the treasury. We're going to eliminate that hijacking of the treasury and make sure the goods and services are delivered to the people. Go ahead, Mr. Singh.
And again, it comes back to the same thing. Where were all the agencies, who, profess that they are for equity and transparency and so on, like Transparency International? Where was the Integrity Commission? Where was the Law Association and Chambers, the various Chamber of Commerce and so on. Where they are pipping their mouths. You never hear anything about that. Even this news, CNC News report you just played there, right? Where were they? And it said this is from the investigative desk. Well, where was the investigative desk over the 10 years? You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly. Exactly.
Where was the investigative desk? So this report that they are now presenting to you just now that we saw, they said this is from the CNC investigative desk shows. But how come it didn't show before? Over the 10 years, CNC investigative or investigation showed nothing. They had nothing but praise for the PNM government. So all of a sudden, when they are exposed, now CNC is saying from their investigative desk, this is what they found. But they didn't investigate nothing. It's Mr. Padarat or MP Padarat is the one who bust the mark. And then they started the catch on, So they never did any investigation on their own. That's what I'm saying. Where was all the press and all these agencies who thought when the UNC was there, oh, where will you get money to deliver on these promises? They were the ones to ask these questions. Oh, Kamala is not fit. She have lost 3 elections already. Once she's their perception and what they keep on selling to the public, once Kamala is there, the UNC cannot win anything. That is what the message that they were all touting.
And it was actually the opposite. Because of Kamala, we won everything. Because of
Everything.
Kamala, the Prime Minister of India came to Trinidad and offering all these goods and services to us as never before any other nation did.
And you see Penny, along with their short-sightedness as a leader of the opposition today, just questioning the cost. What is the cost? As I said yesterday, you don't analyze cost in isolation. You isolate cost, you analyze cost, in cost, benefits, and you do the analysis. If the benefits outweigh the cost, then you go ahead, you accept. So in this case, with whatever the cost is, and I think the cost touted was $1.3 million, but look at the benefits we are getting. That has far outstripped.
She asked the wrong question. She should have asked what was the return, but she had no brain.
No,
She had no brain.
No, I know. I disagree. She had the brains, but they are shameless to say what are the benefits to be derived by the TNT economy. They are shameless. So that's why they will never say, well, what are the benefits? That 3 sides of it, cost, benefit, and when you do the analysis, which is really what are we getting for $1.3 million?
Well, exactly. That's what I said. That's what was the return.
Yeah,
The ambulances, the prosthetic team assisting us, the 2,000 laptops, and that's just the crumbs. We haven't gotten the cake out of this yet.
That is the tip of the iceberg. That is the crumbs, really what you're saying. So what about the whole reform of the public service and training and all this thing about the forensic science center, the assistance in the agriculture and flood mitigation and all these things? They know that is, but that was signed, that MUE was signed, and it was delivered, and it was printed in the newspaper. So for she to ask this question, it shows one, stupidity, total stupidity. Because as I said, you can't.
India is the fastest growing economy in the world with everything from technology. Well, forget the education. I mean, they are thousands of years, light years ahead of everybody. And I mean, the United States has engaged them so heavily that they have taken over. I mean, in many ways. I mean, in the medical, you can't beat them in no way at all. I
No,
mean,
do you know that 1 in every 10 doctors in the US is an Indian?
well, we see that here. When you go to the hospital, you see that here.
Yeah.
And not only that, a doctor, the high specialist. When you're waiting for the specialist, it turns out to be an Indian person.
Correct. And all these senior chairmen and provosts and deans of all these medical schools and engineering schools, the top universities in the US are all run by Indians. You know, don't talk for Silicon Valley, 35% of all these high-end engineers and so on are Indians. So from the technology point of, and the educational perspective, India is way, 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 way ahead. And you know what? They're trying to help the poorer countries in the South. South meaning South, is not the G7 or the G20. Those are the advanced northern countries in the world. India is with the South, South. So countries in Latin America, countries in South America, almost all of Africa, and the East Indies, the Southeast Asia, and so on. These are the countries which they're helping. And they're not doing it like the China model. China is what China has done to certain countries in Africa and Sri Lanka and Pakistan is that they have taken their prime real estate, which is ports and so on near the city, and when these governments cannot pay back the loans which the Chinese offered, the Chinese get ownership. So right now there are about 3 or 4 ports in Africa. They are controlling it. Legally, it's Chinese ports in Africa. Similarly in Pakistan and similarly in Sri Lanka, that the government, because of, I don't want to say whatever nature, but because of the corruption, the politicians accepting monies on the hand and selling out their country like that to the Chinese. But that is not the Indian model. The Indian model is genuinely to help these countries. You'll see what they did for Trinidad, what they're doing for Guyana, what they're doing for Brazil, Argentina, Namibia, Ghana, and so on. Follows that money, that help universally. There's no, underhand thing happening. They're just willing to help and share the expertise. So they're not stealing anybody's ports or stealing their real estate when they cannot, these current governments in these other territories, when they cannot pay back their loans which they borrowed from the Chinese. They're not doing that. They, in the area of genuine help for the various sectors. Again, with their strengths in technology, education, AI, agriculture, science, and so these type of development aspects of the economy, they are willing to help them. But Gary, you know what? They are helping these countries with low cost, high efficiency output. And this is what we will be the beneficiary of. We
But
do not
their
have to
brain
put out,
cannot comprehend that. Their brain cannot even calculate that. That's the problem with them.
And if Penny really want to know, she should ask what did Rowley's trip to the African countries, what did that cost, and what were the benefits of it. Do the cost benefit analysis there,
That
and
was that,
compare.
that was more for Mama Guy. To tell you the truth, the Rowley was more Mama Guy and people with that there.
Oh yeah. Well, where the yam seeds, oh, they got yam seeds. That was the big deal. But they got yam seeds. Where is the yam seeds right now? Is that something tangible or intangible? Is that dry seeds? Where was that seed distributed? Where? Where you will see what the Modi had delivered 2,000 laptops. You can feel and see that and see who are the beneficiaries of it. Students of Trinidad and Tobago, not UNC children, not PNO children, all of them. Anyone, eligibility is afforded to anyone of it. So that stupidity which the leader of the opposition, she has brain fog or just pip, as the Prime Minister will describe it as. Yeah, never asking the correct question, but just to mamagai that certain segment, and try to push this racial head that is, that is only for Indian people or Trinidadian people, and the black, this is for the suffering of black people, as they say, talking about this CPAP thing and URP thing, or it's for the nation black community will be the ones who, feeling the brunt of all these CPAP and URP termination, when there's nothing like that. The people have not been terminated. It's the contractors and the bubble and schemes that were introduced by the PNM without contracts, without dates, backdating of contracts,
So
and
the
contracts.
people that raided the treasury under Rowley, what complexion, what color, what creed are they?
You know, well,
The
you are,
contractor that is benefiting in San Fernando, we just saw there.
yes,
What is he?
right? No, these things they cast a blind eye. They cast a blind eye, and this is why I say,
How many people did he help with the money that he got? How many people did they help that was suffering in the country with the money they get? Give me a break.
you know. So it was all they tried to tie this thing that make it sound and look as if it's racially, intuited. But you know what? That is the fact. Look at the contractors and see where they originated. Where is the, head office? Where is their thing? You will see that, it was said that about 80% of all these projects, CPAP, URP, were in the PNM areas, East-West corridor. So South, you mean all of South don't have community enhancement projects? Or should only in the North, so to speak, literally, these were the only area that needed community enhancement? What is it all about?
But what sort of community enhancement was really delivered for the money spent? We don't see the place looks like a garbage dump.
Yes, and do you
The
see the
city is
amount?
a garbage dump.
Do you see the paltry sum for goods and services? 2 million and something dollars for goods and services, and look at the amount of recurrent expenditure and see what was delivered. That is the question Penny should ask. That is the question. Hey,
I
what?
had people crying out to us and others from the BTM with the sewage breaking loose and running up in their kitchen, right? In their kitchen,
My God.
all right, and all of a sudden they go on quiet, but but these are the kind of things that was going on. The people that live in the BTM there, they are under PNM jurisdiction. They had no respect, no care, no concern. I'm just wondering how many diseases that they were exposed to there with the contamination.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, the leader of the opposition should ask the correct question. She's just opposing for opposing's sake and trying to use the race baiting the people and so on, and trying to create this harmony and trying to obstruct all the good work that's currently being done to try to set the economy on a trajectory.
And we really haven't gotten started yet with the delivery yet. We really haven't gotten started yet.
No, no, nothing is going to happen once the new budget is ready and the investigations are completed prior to this year and included up to the election. Then you will know. Nobody knows the current state of the economy as yet. Nobody knows that. Until that audit figures are released, and I genuinely hope that a lot of people have to be making jail. I'm sorry to say it like that, but that is bluntly what I think. A lot of those who have breached the laws, and spending people's
Yeah,
money
yeah,
as
but
if it
thinking
was
about
their
all the
own.
gallivant in the parliament about white collar crime, And and they were trying to make a racist thing out of it, also referring to only the people in the UNC committing white collar crime. You understand? And they're focusing on white collar crime, but in the meantime, the most how to say uh, vicious crime in the country has been taking place, but then focusing on white collar crime to put a twist to this into a racist connotation. I mean,
Yes,
the most heinous crime in the country, with people being brutalized in their house and in their business and on the streets, but they're talking about white collar crime. And how much of them really committing the white collar crime? These are the real white collar criminals. I
yep.
mean, we've seen it. We've seen it blatantly bold there, right there.
And see, look at that. Okay, look again. It comes back to the same thing. Look at the contracts they signed with companies and so on. This company in the energy sector, for example, $1 billion US. That's not chump change. That's 3 times more than the entire allocation for Tobago. 3 times more than the entire yearly allocation for Tobago. 3 times more. That is Stuart Young's, legacy. And to them, Dr. Munilal has said quite rightly, ordered an investigation into that. So let's see what comes out of it and see how he can pussyfoot around that problem. Now he already started to blame the permanent secretaries
Well,
and the
Dr.
technocrats.
Mulila invited him. He invited him to participate in this clarification here, right?
Yes? So let's see. Let's him see, and don't toss the blame on the PSs and the technical staff and the consultants and the advisors. Hey, you were the minister, right? If they were doing it wrong, why did you stay quiet? How come you didn't open your mouth and say, hey, PS, this is wrong? Why are you doing it? So he's trying to put the blame.
I forget the last 10 years was his training period. I'm sorry. Yeah, he was in kindergarten.
Yes, they now are skilled in implementation. Took them 9.5 years to learn the process to implement things. And they tried again to pull a fast one, as they say in local parlance. They tried to pull a fast one on the population. But I guess the population learned some sense this time around, right? They gave a mandate to the UNC to fix these things. So UNC has to go about fixing what they promised on the election platform. And whatever they promise is manifested in their manifesto. These 11 or 15 major projects they intend to implement over the 5 years. Remember, over the 5 years, not in 2 months' time. So they are already trying to say, hey, you're failing in this regard. You have not delivered nothing in the 2 months, 64 days. They're trying to evaluate and see, how many promises, and if they can achieve these promises, where they're going to get the money from, and so on. Well, hey, you know what? After 5 years, evaluate me and see how much promises I have kept and how much are on track. But tell me now, you tell me what happened to the money on your side of things. Where were all these monies, went to? These, now they're saying billion dollar deals. Come on, man. They don't pay them, don't talk in terms of millions anymore. It's billions. So meaning Penny, should be the last person to ask, what was the cost? What was the cost? I see they're saying, oh, our father got contracts. Yes, our father did get contracts, but that was 10 years ago. Who the hell was paying? Who was there 10 years ago? Who was there 10 years ago, my friend? So she's starting her usual P&M style mischief, you know. So this is what my take on it, Gary. And you've seen now the San Fernando Borough Corporation is following through to form. They're saying you've seen the contracts again being awarded when the Minister Padarat is bringing these things into light. How come all of a sudden, man, they want to investigate these things now? Nobody was investigating this. Where was the damn press all along, man? Tell me, how come you did no investigation? So to come now and say that, from our investigative desk, wow, that's, I don't know. But it was pip all along.
I want to welcome Della, Monica, and Nadira.
And welcome to all are welcome on our platform, Gary. Yes. So this is just one aspect of things, and I'm sure as it start to investigate other ministries as well, you will see where the monies were spent and so on. Look, Gary, just have a look at see how much buildings were built and left unoccupied over the last 10 years. How many schools, offices, and look and see how many contracts were awarded to P&M people, and with and without signatures, lessees, landlords, and whose contracts were already extended down into the future, 2028 up to 2029. That's just to lock in the P&M base so that they will, I hope, that the UNC don't have to pay this bill. But once a contract is nullified, that's for good reasons, that has to be terminated right there and then. And I think this is what is hurting them. This is what is causing the concern, this hypocrisy in the P&M of having their people and paying these people up to these dates, forward dates.
Welcome, Dr. Marge.
How are you?
Hey, Doc, what's up?
Well, I'm listening to you for about 3-4 minutes now.
This is the facts, they can't hide the facts, Doc.
Yeah. I see you continuing from last night with all the grouse that I told you about.
No. UNC was given a mandate by the people.
Yes.
You had to fix it right. You had to get a benchmark, right?
Yep.
And then from the benchmark,
I'm not sure if Dr. Morales saw this. So I'm gonna have to replay this footage here. But go ahead and chat in the meantime. Let me just see if I can pull it back.
I was just responding to the footage that Gary brought up on television on the screen. So if you hear me continue from yesterday, I was not continuing. I was responding to the footage.
Okay.
And CNC3 News can reveal that San Fernando City Councillors, past and present, have received multi-million-dollar CPEP contracts. Joshua Simongal investigates.
Two separate companies owned by a current San Fernando City Corporation councillor and a former councillor received CPEP contracts worth close to $10 million from 2020, the Guardian Media Investigative Desk can reveal. The first company, Kudos Cleaning Maintenance Company Limited, is owned by P&M's Monrepo Navet councillor Nigel Cotier and a close female relative. Between February 2022 and March 2023, Kudos Cleaning received two contracts worth $3.7 million. The first contract was a one-year agreement from February 2022. The second contract is a 6-year deal signed in March 2023. Cotier was elected as a San Fernando councillor in the 2019 local government elections. He was re-elected in 2023. CNC3 News wrote the Integrity Commission seeking to find out whether Cotier filed kudos cleaning in his public life documents. The commission said it could not legally share the information. The Integrity Commission mandates that all public life persons must file income, liabilities, and registrable interests annually. A second company, Marisho Maintenance Limited, was awarded $6.7 million in contracts between March 2020 and 2023. As of 2018, Marisho Maintenance lists its directors as former Marabella West Councillor Jennifer Marisho and her daughter Jamila Marisho St. Hill. Jennifer was a former Southwest Regional Health Authority Director, while Jamila was the PNM's candidate for Marabella West in the 2023 local government elections. The contracts were signed despite the company being struck off from the company registry. When a company is struck off, it can no longer legally engage in business activities, as it ceases to be a legal entity. CNC3 News sought comment from the councillor, Cotier, and Mayor Robert Paris, but did not get one. Marisho Director Jamila Marisho St. Hill told CNC3 News that she had nothing to say on the issue. Councillor Cotier, however, found time to upload and post a video to his Facebook page. In announcing a full audit of CPEP in early June, Public Utilities Minister Barry Padarath accused the PNM of using CPEP as a means to reward party loyalists. He claims some contractors received as much as $50,000 monthly in management fees. Joshua Simangal, CNC3 News.
In response, former CPEP chairman Joel Edwards told CNC3 News that he didn't see any conflict of interest with a sitting councillor getting a contract, telling us, quote, "I never paid attention to the names of the contractors or the owners of the companies. In any event, these contracts would have been awarded before my time at CPEP."
So you see, Doc, that is what I was commenting on. Again, what I'm saying is that the UNC was given this mandate by the population to set things right. And how can you set things right when all of these things are going on still? And projected to go on, as I say, some of the contracts are ending in 2029. So, at the end of the day, when it comes down to when you measure the nuts and bolts, they say, well, look, UNC did the same thing. They allowed contracts without signatures, they breach all the, regulations and so on. So we cannot distinguish between PNM and UNC. Both of them are the same thing. And that is what they want people to believe. The thing is that UNC has to set the cards right. Start from the process of cleaning house. So then you could evaluate on a year-to-year basis what is the actual happenings on the ground. As if they do not do that, and they carry on and they have these same people, same set of policies and so on going on, same set of contractors doing jobs who do not have, beginning and closing dates, who are open-ended contracts. Some of them names are not revealed. Some of the names are struck out from the company's register and so on. Still being there, then you know what? In the next 5 years, I will think that UNC is just as bad as what PNM, did over these years. So they have to clean house and set new standards from now on, up from this point of time, from this date, whether it be this year, next year, whenever they finish their audits and so on. Then, and only then, can we put TNT in a trajectory path. That is my sense of it. I don't go too much under the notion that we should just leave everything as it is and just move on. No, because the perception is that people will always be talking about PNM and UNC is the same because they're doing the same wrong thing. I think we have to set different standards.
Okay, so let me ask you this then, because I don't have those kinds of things. I already told you last night that that the government will ensure that I don't know how to ensure, but in looking into these matters, and if companies were not registered and they violate the SEC, the laws of the country, they had to be held accountable. So if there any wrongdoing, malfeasance, I said, then that should be that should be allowed to be swept under the carpet. Um, but here's my question to you all. Um, what would you tell, or what would you say to the average employee who went in there and did a day's work, whatever it was, and they have nothing to do with the legality of the company. As far as they're concerned, they were employed and they went to work, and whatever they did, they're entitled to be paid. Now, if they're not working or send them home, I don't think they're keeping them there permanently away from jobs. How would you answer the question to those people who think that they deserve a day's work as they were accustomed to, because they have no responsibility in terms of those legalities of who are the employers? As far as they're concerned, they had employers and they work for the employers, and they should continue to work for those employers no matter who they are. Because you have to answer eventually to those people. They are Trinidadians and Tobagonians, citizens, and so that we have a responsibility for them also. As you know, our phrase is everybody wins, and therefore including PNM people win also. So I don't know if you all factor that into your discussion, but that I would like to hear, because I'm concerned about those people as well.
Yes.
In the process that you're all trying to clean house, that's okay, but there might be some spillover effect, some collateral damage on the way. You have them. UNC cannot look the other way. They have to look front and center in terms of those people. Deal with the wrongdoers, yes, but there might be innocent people who, bystanders, or might are participating, but they have no culpability in what was being done and the illegality or whatever it happened. And just to let you know, this is how it is done. The PNM has always been giving contracts to their own people, and they have been doing it for I don't know, decades, years upon years. That's how they survive for so many, many years, because they take the state resources and patronize those who patronize them for a penny vote. They've been doing that all along. This has been going on forever. So this is not new, and it's not surprising to see what the PNM is doing, have been doing for the past number of years. I mean, where have the opposition been all along? That they couldn't dig into this when they were in opposition. Maybe they couldn't find it. Did they ever try? How much did they try? They got to tell us, because this is a wrongdoing for illegitimate companies. Illegitimate companies getting contract from the government, that's a no-no. That should have happened. So where was the opposition? I don't know. They got to answer too. So the bottom line is those collateral damages to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, that the UNC has to also explain that aspect of it. I'm sure they have a way to answer that, and I don't know if you all know what it is, but I'm sure they have a way they will answer that.
That's a
Right.
right. That's a right question you're asking, Doctor, and I'm sure that there will be further investigation into all of this. From my understanding, is that there were about 360 contractors, and these contractors under the CPAP program were the ones who hired these people, right? So they picked and choose whoever the contractors, that is. Now, if the contractors who hired these people, if they are at fault in their legal processes, who should be blamed? That's the first question I will ask. Is it the people to be blamed, or is it the contractors who in turn have hired these people? In other words, the people were working for an illegal contractor. That's the question. Now, there is fallout. I'm sure there is fallout, right? the UNC has promised to give everybody a 1 month salary until they rectify the problem, make contractors legal, or select from a bunch of legal contractors who have the requisite, company. They're going through the Companies Act and so on and become legalized, as a bona fide company to bid for projects and so on. Because you cannot have the same old continuing like that. And now the spin which the opposition leaders is putting on this is that, this is what is going to affect, it's the black people, the black population are the one which the UNC is targeting. This is the spin they're putting on it, trying to inflame the situation. So there is going to be fallout. I agree with you. There's going to be some fallout. But it's how you manage, like everything else. It's a management process. How do you manage that? Are you going to bring equity in the system, or are you going to have the same 80% of all projects being built in the northern half of the country? Anything south of the lighthouse, there should be no or very little CPEP enhancement projects. Why? You have to bring equity into the system, or some form of equity. And in doing so, and trying to regularize the situation and make sure that everybody comply with the legislative aspect of things, then if that is the way it has to be corrected, let it be.
Take into consideration that every time PNM took government, they never demonstrated any consideration to our people and their hiring practices, right? They came in and they kick everybody out. They didn't give no courtesy in the level that the UNC is doing. The UNC is sorting out the contract business, But go ahead, gentlemen.
Yeah, that's a good point, Gary. The very next day after the PNM one election, previously, is that, hey, don't wait for me to tell you to vacate your job.
Don't let the door hit you behind.
Yeah, but that's what it means. That's what it means. Not one day, two. By the time the second or third day, all these directors of the 100 and how much companies, private sector companies, or state-run companies as well, they have to vacate their positions. So, and look at the names of these people. See how much of them. Look at the composition. You're talking about equity and fairness. Look at the composition of all these boards. If you have 10% Indians, you have plenty of all these people. So there was never any equity. Never. None at all. So if they're trying to bring some sense and make sure you're trying to clean the system up, you're quite right. There will be fallout. There will be perception.
But look at the legitimacy of the contractors. You cannot be a councillor and getting contract. You can't be an MP and getting contract. Somebody had to go to jail on those aspects too.
Yeah. The thing is that, we have to consider it's not their money, it's people's money. No, it's not my money, it's people, everybody's money. And you can't have one sector of the society being the champion and guardian of that and not accounting for it.
But the people is the PNM and the PNM is the people.
That is what they want you to believe. So what about the south of the lighthouse? It doesn't have nobody living south of the lighthouse? This is the question. Trinidad is not only north of the Caroni Bridge, man. It's everybody. Everybody should have a stake. It's everybody's money. So why are you concentrating 80% of the projects only, in the northern areas? That is not community enhancement. What CPEP is, community enhancement programs. So what you're trying to tell me then, Rio Claro doesn't need community enhancement, Moruga don't need community enhancement, only should be north?
Yeah,
that's what they're saying. But
they vote for the wrong party. They have to vote for PNM if they want it.
Yes, you're right. So they make the system like that. You know, we are led to believe, but this time around, the population saw eye to eye with it, and realized the hardships that the average local Trinidadians, both sides of the coin, PNM as well as UNC, had to undergo.
Yeah.
You know, so let it be some more equity in the system. That's all I'm saying. Let it be, hey, you're doing a project in Labre, you should be doing one in Pinal or Siparia, doing one in St. Joseph or St. George. Okay, no problem in that. But there be some kind of equity in the system that someone in Cedros could get a 10 days, as well as someone in Toko could get a 10 days. You know, don't make it lump-sided and one-sided at the same time. And only because, you know, all your contractors and so on, he can choose who he wants to work with him. And by the way, this 2 hours work and thing that ain't cutting it this time around. Eh? This 2 hour work, everybody wants a 2 hour work. 2 hours, by 8 o'clock they're going home. How can a nation develop like that? Tell me, in all seriousness. When I had to leave South and go to and make 8 hours in Port of Spain, take 4 hours traffic, that's 12 hours a day. And if I don't have a car, I'm stuck. I have to have the expense of owning a car, buying a car, mining the banks, paying interest, you know. So I go through all these things, but it's better for me to get a 10 days working for 2 hours and forego all of these things. So again, you want to have equity in the system or some form of equity or close enough equity. You cannot have it one-sided. You know. So that is
just put your name on my list and again pay them. I'm only worried about. Just put your name on the list there. We good to go. Don't worry about that. What's wrong with all you?
But well, you know, the purpose of CPEP in theory is what you all said, but in practice, it's a different ball game. It is really a handout to give people some money, so instead of giving, they don't have dole, so to give them some money to tie them over till the next paycheck, because they have responsibility, they have children, they have husband, wives, what have you, and they have rent to pay. And therefore, you had a time, they need some purchasing power to survive, subsistence level, and since they can't be employed
look how the
anyway.
money is distributed. We understand the concept of giving the people some, but look how the money was distributed by 1 or 2 persons sucking up the large amount of funds, and the money not really trickled down to the people that we intended to go to.
that's
You understand? I mean, and then there is a racket about the person having to pay to get a CPEP job. Okay, that's another racket that we've been dealing for some years. All right, people who hiring want the people to pay to get the job. That alone and all has to be dealt with. But we did not get value for money in the fact that the amount of money dished out there, and no performance.
So let me ask you something, because, you know, let me put on my financial hat now, because now we get into my area, so we go talk now. So if a company has been hiring people, whether legal or illegal in terms of registration, they would have to have books. For example, they would have to have a bank account, and they will have to get money transferred from, in this case, whatever ministry it is, that goes into a bank account. And from the bank account, you'll have debits and credits, so you can reconcile the statement of the banks to see where how much money came in and how much money went out, and even to who it was paid, because they have bank cards. These many people collecting their payments via the bank. So you have a chain of. I guess that is what the government may be looking at. That's why they're not saying anything, because to make that connection in the inflows and outflows of cash, because this company has to show a profit and loss at the end of every quarter.
But not only that, Doc, you have to look at all the ingredients here. In the fact that we have illegal company, we have people that not on the job collecting the largest sum of the money. The people who are actually on the job were getting the very minimum amount of money out of this whole allocation here. So that is the issue. That you have people that collecting large sum of money. You have illegal contractors who are getting contracts, who are not on the books. So how do you trace all those activities? This is what we're dealing with. Money allocated, money unaccounted for.
Well, that's what I'm telling you. They could go to the bank account and see where these guys who collected the cash and didn't employ a single person. They were contracted just collecting cash and embezzling funds and putting it in their pocket, and wherever they're taking it to Miami or wherever, they've been doing this all along. So some of them may not have not done nothing for the money they collected, just put it in their pocket and say, okay, I'm a contractor, I have this, and I show them some documents, and therefore I get money and I walk away. And I promise to handle people, and there's no auditing after for performance. There's no performance evaluation. So you have a few of that. You have maybe a lot of that happening. But what the point I'm making is, so that's another way, and there's the other way where there are really people who collected money and making profits, and they have to show how much money profit they made, because you can find them. You can find out how much profit they made. Because if you get $1 million, you will say, so much went to employees, so much went to office, so much went to here, so much went to here, and so much you have kept in my pocket. So I need to show some kind of balancing, and you could, without having any in cash flow statement or income statement to show. You could show that through your bank account. The bank account you could track, because you have inflows and outflows of cash, and the government has power to look at whatever bank they in. They could find it, and I guess that's what they're doing now. Like last night I told you, the Attorney General says that I'm coming for you. That those are the things they'll be doing. Those kind of subtle investigation. You could connect the dots in terms of the bank accounts, and this is the best way to find out who collected what and who distributed what and who didn't distribute what and who get what and who didn't get what. And therefore, and the illegal companies, that's a different story, because if you're illegal and the government gave you a contract, somebody had to be held accountable for that illegality. The government cannot get away with that, because the government cannot be creating companies and doing things that are illegal so blatant. There has to be some downside to this, and somewhere along the line, a minister responsible had to become before some high court or some appeal court to explain why they didn't look at these things, because this is nonsense. You see, and you can see why they're ranting and raving, because they realize there might be jail time facing some of them. So they're ranting and raving and appealing to the people, because they hope that the people will rise up
That's exactly
when this starts to happen. So this is, remember the Robinson thing, what happened? They were hoping that so they hope that this will happen. When they start to go look for them and you find them and they bring them out, where they're hiding, and the money they're hiding somewhere, they will run away. So they have bank accounts all over the place. They'll have to run away from the country. You'll not find some of them just now. You couldn't find them because they know what they did, and they'll be out of the country. So I hope subtly in the background they're seizing people's passport and trying to have a track on some of those suspected people who broke Trinidad and Tobago financial laws, and then they had to pay the penalty. And in the meantime, they should have seizing their passport or trying to have some kind of clearance in the courthouse, so they couldn't leave the country because they are suspect in certain matters. I guess this AG, his nice tone the other day, is working on those kinds of things. Because if they run out of the country, you can't catch them anymore. They'll run away. They'll run some other place. They will run away and hide. And they could do that. So while I'm aware, and I said last night, while I'm aware that the government has a lot of things to do and to go after these kinds of people for those kinds of things, I mean, there's so much more important things. But like some of you said last night, the government must be able to chew gum and walk at the same time. So I understand all of that. I would like the guilty to be found, but I'm saying I had to be guilty. But I don't want to get into, like I was saying last night, like I don't want to get into the aspect of people work and then they get paid and they come and work for 2 hours a day. That has nothing to do. That's a management issue. That's not a governmental issue. The governmental issue is these employers, they were inefficient, they were ratchet all along the way. There is there is malfeasance, there is illegality, there is misconduct from beginning top to bottom. The PNM has always doing misconduct, but no one really get them. By the time you really get around to them, it's because you change government, they got back in. And I'm hoping that this government will be here for at least 15 years so we could really get somewhere. I told you all last night that how this country is moving backwards, that one of the worst in the Caribbean from used to be the best to now to the worst. Or like I said last night, regressing to the center or regressing to the mediocrity and moving towards further down the chain. So the average, America, Trinidad was never an average country in the Caribbean. There was always exceptional in the Caribbean. So I'm not buying those kinds of issues. The PNM is happy to be average and to follow hog arms with the other brothers and sisters in the Caribbean. And Trinidad should be on top of everybody and helping out each other because they're in a front. We could only help each other if we're better than them, meaning financially. And that is what we have been doing over the past 40, 50, 60 years. We've been helping them financially because we are better off. And they always had a middle income, GDP income. We always had, and they look up to us. When you meet them outside the Caribbean, you meet them in North America and England, they really appreciate Trinidad people because we are exceptional. We are a great nation. We are great people. This PNM take us down the drain, down the hill. This thing about attending this CARICOM the other day. That go happy, go lucky talk shop, having a fun drink, drink a rum or drink a whiskey or whatever, and then enjoy and dance around and then come back home and say, we had a good meeting. Their good meeting mean they had a good time. Their good time mean they enjoy themselves. They talk a lot of crap and then they enjoy it. They say, okay, we had a good time. Now, what is the next meeting? Okay, that'll be in Trinidad next time around. Okay, they're going to come here next time around to shake glass again and have to talk crap talk. Nothing serious. So I'm upset because Trinidad is not doing as well as it's supposed to be doing. And this poor government will have to saddle it. They have to do it. Otherwise, down the hill there's no return. And one man I was saying last night, they better go close to India because this is the only one of those external countries. Forget the America, forget the British, forget all of them. This is the only country that will come and help genuinely. And they don't have to be looking over the back to get a hand, to get some kind of favor back. They will give you something and walk away because they have intrinsic value to receive from whatever they do. And they will continue to help. Not only do they help Africa, they will help whoever this, because that's a nation who helped. They came out of richness. They know what this world is all about. For 75 years, they're independent. They're a young nation compared to many other nations. So you have to hog up India and keep it. Forget all these people. This PNM they're no good. Forget them. You have to keep India close. Maybe Canada second, because these are countries who are more interested in than America. America is not as a nation that. Well, not all America. America have their own issues dealing with right now in world domination. They have a different problem. They can't rely on them much anymore because maybe later on in these years to come, no. So Trinidad needs a lot of help. They need to get on fast. The PNM have run them down to the ground. They had to pick it up back. They had to pick it up quickly. And then they had to build on when they pick it up. And they have to move back to where they were, number one in the Caribbean. They have to move back there. And every Trinidadian, whether you're on CPEP or not, or whether you are a banker, or whether you are an oil field worker, or hopefully soon oil field worker, refinery worker, wherever you are, you have to dominate, seek that Trinidad come back to the top. And many of you cannot go to any country. You'll have to stay in Trinidad. And many of us would like to return to Trinidad as well once they take care of the crime. Last night, that's how we ended last night. That's how we ended up last night with the crime situation. And that should never go away. In all the discussion we're having, we have to go back to that crime situation, which is where we ended last night, and which I promised to talk about tonight. But I was listening to what you all are talking about. So last night was the same thing. I was listening to what you're talking about. We never get around to the three issues I was raising.
Yes.
Although we end up with
that is
the crime,
crime
but
also,
tonight
Doc. But anyway, go ahead with what you want to say tonight.
tonight we'll continue with the crime after we settle this issue about or at least have enough on the terms of what you are referring to as the CPEP.
Yeah. Well, look, let me endorse what you are saying. When did we start to go downhill?
Boy,
As
I think
Trinidad being the number one.
I think it's within the last 10 years.
Definitely so. So when 2010 it was being uplifted, 2011, 12, we were going up the ladder, right?
Yeah.
Then we made a complete bell-shaped curve, and then the bell shape kept on going down.
Certainly.
Right? So as you see, historically, that has always
welcome, Dr. Ramo. Dr. Ramo was in the house.
Hi, Doc.
Hi.
Hi, guys.
Yeah.
Right. So that has traditionally been the case. When one party wins, try to bring up the status and the social equity of the population, and then again the other one, everything falls apart. So the country cannot be developing like that. It will always be going sideways, from side to side, never forward, never towards the top. We were just going sideways. So right now
it's sideways, it's good, but they're going downhill sideways. Sideways. We're going down.
Downhill and still sideways. So that process is continuing. We have to stop that and stagnate that and start to make that bell go up again. That is what the clean house.
The only way we do that is you properly educate the voting population, and you have to just not say it one time. You might have to say 10,000 times, but you have to keep singing it.
And you have to keep making some sturdy decisions. You have to benchmark things. You have to start basically cleaning house all over and start again. But you know what? If you look at history of politics in Trinidad, any party that did that never lasted more than 5 years. You see?
Right.
So
that's what I told you. So that's what I've been telling you all along. If there's no sense to do all these great, good things and next 5 years you're out, you're back to square one. You want the 15 years. I said you have to work on the 15 years. And I know I am not asking that you politicize the issue or try to show but you have to show your performance, but keep the long-term objective in mind, which is 5 years from now and 10 years from now. Because there's no sense. I mean, you might make a good contribution, but then it all go down, starting back again from 2030, you go back down to where you were. Trinidad must be wide. And I'm appealing to people in Trinidad. I'm talking to Trinidadians. I'm telling them that it might be rough, but it will be better in the end. It is going to take a sacrifice, because you all cannot be in last place like this in the Caribbean. You all have much more than it takes. You have a sufficient educated workforce that could take you there. It's not a matter of just level the playing field and everybody understand what the issues are. Forget the CPEP. CPEP would not help take you very far. CPAP is only a conditional thing. I said so sometime before. This is a conditional environment to give people a few dollars in the hand until they can get something better. Because if you look at the PNM, they need that dependency. And the dependency is working to their favor. Because keep your poor so they will win again. Keep them poor. The people must liberate. Some of you just talked about that. But the people of Trinidad has to be educated, as you say, educated, and remain to liberate themselves from the yoke of underdevelopment that PNM has placed on them, so they cannot strive and they cannot survive. They cannot think for themselves. They cannot do things. The PNM has them down in that doldrum, and that liberation has to come. Because last night I was saying, I don't know what the University of the West Indies are doing, but what I'm saying here is they should be talking about it. No, but they set themselves in a corner and talking about which other conference they'll go to in whatever country of the world, and look who will support them there or not. There has to be, look, did any one of them come out and say that we favor the campus moving to Camp David? which of the intellectuals came out and support this one? No, Leone. So Trinidad and Tobago has to go back, not to the old playbook they have, but a new playbook. Because if you want to get back to where you need a new playbook, and you have to have that 15 years in your mind as you go on that playbook. And you have to, next time around, you might have a rookie. You have this time you're going to have Kamala go down for leadership. She might win. The next time around, she may not go up. Well, whatever will happen. But in the meantime, the party has to continue, because without the party, you cannot win. You have to, your party has to be always behind there. Like I said, what is the role of the party between elections? They have to be active on the ground, even though they have government, because the parliamentarians doing their job. You in the party have to do your job, and whoever again you have working within the system. There are a lot of people who came up with the UNC. They know what to do, but they have to do it. Somebody have to get them grounded to do it, because it ain't gonna happen. This is not going to be a walkover even to 5 years from now. But if they play the cards right and they really level with the people, Trinidad people will give them another chance, especially those non-committed and those hard committed UNC and those other PNM. If they could jump over, we welcome, but we cannot depend on them very much. But we welcome in them as well. That is what means everybody wins. If everybody wins, everybody has to vote for the UNC, because everybody going to win. So keep on voting for the UNC, because we leave nobody behind. And that is the message you want to carry all across the board. And the prime minister alone cannot do that, and the ministers alone cannot do that. It has to be done. There has to be a party in the background who making waves also.
And that, Doc, that is the point. We can talk as much as we want here, from an objective standpoint.
But the thing about it, how do we accomplish anything when you have a team of ground of people there who thinks they know it all? How do you do that?
Correct.
So
this is the point with the national executive inside here right now.
Welcome, Joyce. I see we have a new person on the chat here. Welcome, Joyce. Monica, I know Nadira and Della is here. Welcome, everyone who's listening.
Right. The point is, how do you get them to listen? This is the first question you have to ask. How do we get the national executive to listen? Or what are you bringing to the table that they don't know yet? There are some very hard-headed persons, I must say, that are inside controlling everything. And you talk to some of the people back home, and they will tell you the same thing. Boy, we voted our hearts out for them. We supported them all through. All of a sudden, these fellas in the executive, national, NATEX, is what you could do for us. They're not seeing it like I hope we are seeing it, that, if you could do what you want for 5 years, and if you don't communicate that to the people who don't got the support, they kick you out. PNM wins the election again. Next time around, the country goes downhill. All the progress you have made in all spheres of economic life has gone through the tubes again. So that's what I'm saying. We always going sideways and up when the UNC or any other government is there, and sideways down when the PNM has won the election. So this is the reality. You have to get the central executive exactly what you said. The ministers are not busy, let the NATEX see what is the problem and how they can have this continuity for the next 10, 15 years down the road. Set up the system now and put that in place. And you're quite right. That is what they need to start doing. But you cannot approach these guys now. I'm telling you.
So these people who saying, well, what could the party do for them? Twist it around and say, okay, that's a good question. But what can you do for the party? You are part of this thing. You are don't hold your ropes and watch the action in the fight. You are in this fight. Put on your gloves and walk in the ring, man. What the hell wrong with you? You belong to this too. You have to jump in there and fight. You can't say hold the ropes and watch and say what you guys are doing. No, you are part of the fight. You are part of the struggle. You are part
Correct.
of the winning. You are the part of the Trinidad and Tobago. Want to see a better Trinidad and Tobago. So you are in it. They will give it to you. You just have to work hard and show your colors, and you'll win because the playing field is there. We don't want to be patronizing, and because you're a party member, have a party card, we'll help you. We are very fair people. Everybody wins.
This is what I recommend, right? Listen, we will be going up against a concrete wall in trying to penetrate there. So I am suggesting that we build our team externally here and try to try to do the best we can with mobilization. I mean, I did quite a bit, with a very minimum, with basically no help. But I would like to expand this team where we have expand the connection on the ground, where we could mobilize people on the ground, to operate. We don't have to go through the norm. We don't have to. That's how Obama did it here. Obama had. This is what I was trying to demonstrate, that we would have to form our own party group and mobilize. Because let me tell you something. I don't think we're going to get anywhere with the current executive on the ground.
I share that same opinion.
So we
That's why
have to.
we got to remain.
Our team here has to work with the team that we have in Trinidad and build that team.
And our views have to be objective. We're not
Yeah, but
doing
what
a
I'm saying
party line.
is we have to build our own team because party executive is not going to work with me.
Yep, quite true. They ain't
So-
going to work with us.
So I don't know what the Natex problem really is. You all tell me this thing. I don't know.
It's more an ego and protecting turf, gentlemen. So
Right. So the political leader must read the riot act and say where we want to go, how we going there, and everybody had to fall in line. She's going to win this the next election, the eternal election. After that, call the shots. This is what it is.
But Doc, you don't seem to
And be sure
understand.
that she have the chairman with the party and with her, the assistant, the deputies, and
All
those
right,
deputies. So the only Natex had to fall in line.
so
Else
how
call
I
a by
function in
election.
this last
Call a by election.
how I function in this last election here is I work alongside the political leader, regardless of who in the executive was approved or didn't approve. I did my thing. I shared my ideas directly. So the thing about it, I'm telling you here, is that we're going up against I reached out. They want to know what he could do from over there, right? But I did my thing. I did whatever little I could with a minimum amount of help. Right? So what I'm telling you is we have to focus on building this team because we're wasting time with the current executive on the ground. They will never work with us because they're threatened for turf. All right. So we have to recruit our own team and continue to build. So that is my decision on things because trying to reach out to the party, I have tried. I've been down that road, and there are certain people that will work with me, and some people won't work with me. All right. So they never give me the collaboration. So we have a platform here. We have a team here. We have an army here, and I'm suggesting that we try to focus on building this team with the connection on the ground that we have.
As I said in acted on, if they don't like you or if you cannot bring something to the table that suits and what they think is important, forget it. They're
Well,
not going
just
to
not only
accommodate
that,
you.
they will take your ideas, use them conveniently, and do what
Yeah,
they want, and,
yeah.
and, and cut you off. So I've been there, done that. So I don't worry them. I even tried very hard out of courtesy to work with them. There, I didn't get no collaboration from them. So I had to work outside the party executive.
It definitely is an issue. She read the Riot Act for parliamentarians. I wish she reads the same Riot Act for the NATEX as well.
Well, you will get some kind of mutiny inside there. So that I'm proposing that we continue the way we're going and do what we can on the external because we are not going to get anywhere with these guys there.
So we'll continue being an objective pressure group within the party.
But I went by the time the next election come, we could, if we get sufficient help, we could be financially equipped and also have a team working with us. We can do that. We don't have to work under the jurisdiction of the party executive. I'm telling you. We don't. I didn't.
No, we are advisory committee. We're not in the chain of command. We're outside of that.
Listen, you can't advise them. They know everything down there. You can't advise them.
They think they know everything,
They know
Gary.
everything. No, they know everything. You can't advise them. So
They
we
don't
have to,
take no
in
advice.
order to provide our support, we have to work. We have to work outside. We have to work from outside, right?
But I understand that the if you look at the number of NATEX members, aren't most of them now parliamentarians and parliamentary secretaries? Check and see. I think quite a lot of the NATEX are in government, either ministers or parliamentary secretaries.
Yeah.
Right,
No,
but
but
because
what I'm saying to you is, um, we are. I mean, we are going up against a concrete wall here. We're trying to work with the party.
But
All
you
right.
understand what I'm saying? Is if okay, let us look at this. They're gonna have an internal election. Is it just for the leader or for NATEX?
leader alone.
Leader. All
Yeah,
right, because the NATEX elections was not too long ago, right?
right,
And
right,
quite a lot of people like Sobers and
right,
Morris and all of these people are in the NATEX, right?
right.
And
But
they are
but
now parliamentarians. So which
yeah,
means
but
that
what?
we stuck with a situation where a high percentage of the people who are going to be busy. I mean, I just spoke to Morris recently. He's in China. He was in China because I'm having some issues by my beach house in Mayaro, and he answered. And he said he was in China and he will help me to sort out some of the things I'm having up there with water and roads and all this sort of thing in where I'm living, which is very close to the junction, right? So I know for a fact that quite a lot of, even when she comes in again, and she will because everybody has to endorse her. I don't see they have a choice. So when they endorse her and she comes back as the leader of the party, it will be pretty much the same NATEX which is in government, most of them. I know Peter Kanhai is what? He's the general secretary. Tanku is the chairman, right? Sobers is, I think I can't remember what he is. I think strategy is this boy from Sama Barataria, the
Yeah,
Saddam.
Saddam.
Yeah. So if you really look at the NATEX, which is what was the problem in 2021 with some of us, is that a lot of the NATEX members and their close friends and family are coming back in the government, and then they also coming back they are also in the NATEX. So it means that you can't tell the party itself anything much, and once they're in government, they're so busy that they can't even answer your calls. So the manner in which you can get information and communicate is actually what is the forum? Is it the Monday night forum, which is basically a top down saying that we giving you information? So there's no panchites. There are no panchites with the general membership that the party can communicate with the general membership. I'm not sure the party groups, from the time they win the election, the party groups all fizzle and only come up more when they're actually ready for elections. It's an election. UNC is an election party. They get ready for elections, and then after that, pretty much things is just about calling a big meeting, a big rally, and during maybe the Monday night forum that they're having, and there is no methodology for some subject matter experts to present any sort of information that might be helpful or relevant, or even if it's not relevant. I mean, we don't pretend to know everything because we're not in the ministries. We know that the subject matter experts, many of you all have worked in the ministries, in government, and you all know that when you send your permanent secretaries and the officers to the conferences and the workshops and the seminars, they bring back the information, they bring back best practice, they bring it back on the table, and whether or not it goes into policy, that's another matter. That's another matter. But the point is that this is where the information comes. So when it goes up to the PS pretty much advises the ministers. Some of the ministers are subject matter experts. Like, we have Bodo in health, we have education, we have some of the other ministries where we have finance, where some of the ministers are subject matter experts. So when the permanent secretary comes up with their what we should say contemporary policy or contemporary practice that the subject matter experts and the technocrats have gone to conferences and seminars and workshops, either virtually or physically, and brought back on in the country, then the minister who are subject matter experts will smooth it out hopefully and say, well, okay, well, this is my opinion, but if this is it, so there might be some little hybrid policies coming out. But what the other ones who are not subject matter experts, who are guided by the permanent secretaries and the ministerial subject matter experts and technocrats and whatever, they now they are the ones that would probably have to have some information, communication with people like this committee or others. So it's I mean, I can see frustration in the conversation, Gary. I'm seeing it, I'm hearing it, and I mean, this we experienced before. So I mean, it's almost like we we are what, we just we're not even on 100 days. So let's see. I mean, let's have some hope, and maybe with respect to the leader, once we could get her or meet her in any one of the events, I mean, soon I'm hoping that something will happen that I can be able to meet her up, and start speaking with her again. And, maybe we could communicate openly and see if we can, at least get her to hear us. And I like the other opinion that Gary, you're saying, and Doctor, and of course, Sumant, is that we continue to present and continue to get experts who have international, regional, hemispheric, and even national experience, and we continue to get their input, wherever we can, and we present it, and we either present it via social media, or we can even send official emails to the general secretary, who is Peter Kanai, also via the chairman, Tanku, who seems to be much more approachable right now. He does seem to communicate, when you send any sort of emails or text to him, much more than some of the others. And maybe via that, whether they want to put it in a suspense or put it in a cloud and don't present it to the general party or to the government and to the
Yeah,
cabinet,
but
that's it.
far as Dave Tango, I have no problem with Dave Tango, and I have no
Yeah,
problem with the political leader. Is
yeah,
those that are underneath. So Dave
yeah.
has been working with me directly. He has been on this program many times,
Right.
and so I have no issues with that. But what I'm
So,
saying to you is, the guys underneath would not collaborate. I mean, so I've
yeah,
been there, done that, and I'm looking to build this team stronger as best as possible. You know.
yeah. I agree. I agree. I see. Go through. I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with Samant. Go through the channels that we know that we can get through to. Send
Well,
the information. Send whatever we have to.
no,
Have the
but you don't
discussion.
seem to understand what I'm telling you here.
Yeah.
But I've been there. They don't collaborate. They won't collaborate. All right.
Yeah.
So I mean, the party chairman work with me directly. The prime minister work with me directly. So why do I don't need, I don't need these obstacles. I did what I had to do
Yeah.
directly with the
Well, that's it.
chairman. With
Send it. Let us send it to the leader. Send it to
yeah,
the chairman. Right, because they are the ones that we at least getting some sort of feedback from or with.
yeah. I deal with
Yeah.
them directly. I deal with
Right.
them directly. So I don't
So
have to
that's
waste
it.
time
So
with
let us
anyone
let
else.
us do that, and eventually, I feel that as they go on, right, some of the information that is being fed. You see, if we are saying, Mr. Maraj made some very good points. Dr. Maraj made some very good points today, which we keep saying over and over here. Anyway, it's not repetitive because it's nice to talk about it again and get some new perspectives. But it's the same thing we have been saying since I entered this forum, and it is actually logical. It's evidence based. It's also experiential. I mean, we have experience in what we are saying. I mean, maybe we're not citing any sort of scientific articles to back up, but that's for another time or place when we really need to do that. Right now in this forum, we don't need to say, well, these are the guys that said so and blah 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 blah. So it's not relevant now. But if we have to, it is important. So my take on this is that yes, I think we can see how it goes, right? We can continue to go through the channels that work for us, right? And then later on, hopefully, right? I mean, hopefully we might be able to engage more and more persons as we go on. Some of the younger ones are responding. I think they're right now a bit over their heads because they're young in it. They're getting overwhelmed. Some of them are traveling. I know Ravi Ratiram has been traveling. Sobas went to Jamaica. Morris went to China. So the guys, I mean, even Dave went to Seville. So they're
Radiram
moving out.
is one of the guys I
Yeah,
maintain contacts. He maintained contact with me, even up to now. So I mean,
yeah,
we know each other. So,
right.
but you know, but what I'm saying to you is, I depend on a team on the ground like
Right.
yourself,
Well, that
and
I think that's a very good idea. In fact, I feel that
to
if we
move
can
forward.
lobby, if we can get some support, right? I mean, I feel that the NATEX, well, hopefully, in the next NATEX or whatever it is, we can, since we can't wait for that. I mean, I don't know when that is going to be, but I think that in the meantime, we could get some party groups to sort of lobby, right, for some of the things that we are suggesting. Crime is a big thing, right? Obviously. We have healthcare, which I think Dr. Bodo is doing a marvelous job. He's actually engaging quite a lot of the stakeholders. I mean, going to Tobago was a very, very good move. Trying to sort out what's happening in Tobago. So I think that health is moving in the right direction. Hopefully soon, when they appoint the boards, right, then I think a lot more things will be happening in health. I mean, this boy Kevin has gone. Kevin is on the committee to look at Petrotrid. I spoke to Kevin on WhatsApp today. He says, well, 4 months is good. He'll give him enough time to make a thorough assessment, and he's quite capable. With I know some of the guys on the committee themselves. Kelvin Harnanan is a very old friend of mine. He used to be in Rotary Club with me, so they have some good people there. So I mean, though I'm getting a bit worried because more and more as the day go by, less and less people are talking to me. But the point is that we keep going. Yeah, yeah. We just
Don't
keep
you
going.
make me laugh.
We have no choice. What else? What else? Suman, what else? What
No,
else?
like you
What
say,
can
Doc,
we
what
do?
I'm saying to you is we
The
have to
thing
focus
is,
on building our team. We have to focus on
yes,
building this
that's
UNC, the USA outreach network that's on the ground
Yeah,
in TNT. I am more focused on adding people
I
to
agree.
this
I
team on
agree.
the ground
I agree
because
fully. I
and
agree
these
fully.
people, there are a lot of people, the top executive collaborates with me directly. So I am not worried about the people underneath,
Yeah,
right? So
I think that is what I agree. I agree thoroughly with that.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
And I endorse that same opinion, Gary, that we need to have that linkage from the
I am
top.
not, I mean, listen, I did it. We got into government. Our prime minister, she took a lot of suggestions. She listened to us, and she's implementing a lot of stuff. So carry on. I'll catch up in a minute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dr. Ramup, I thoroughly agree. What you say, we just hoping, but the thing is that while the UNC is hoping, right, there are some issues where expertise is needed, especially in your case, for example. This is an example. I mean, there's so much institutional knowledge you have. Who is doing what? Do they know who is Dr. Ramu? Do you know about him, that he exists? How do you get yourself visible in their eyes? Are you going to trample on their friends? Well, if you start to, make suggestions and so on, or will it become, oh, this is a Dr. Ramu show where he just
Well,
wants.
I engaged with one person who is very high up in the party, and the response I get was one line, and he said, "What exactly can you offer?"
Dr. Maharaj, Dr. Ashwin Maharaj, that is what I was talking about.
He says, what if I could quote it? I mean, I could read off the WhatsApp. I made a photo shoot of it just to make sure that I
Uh,
was correct. I sent it to my son is a doctor. He's an ENT specialist. I sent it to some of my very close friends, who are, senior colleagues at the University of the West Indies, some psychologists, psychiatrists. I said, what do you think about this? And they said, well, it's hard to say. There's no emoji. So we're not sure if it's sarcastic or if it's just because I am well known. I mean, I used to be the head of ODPM. I was the medical director of San Fernando Hospital. I was the CEO of ODPM in the People's Partnership. And this guy and I worked very closely in one of the Prime Minister's national projects throughout the country where they were giving toys all over the country. And I was the one who was in ODPM, who was organizing all the PTSD buses, bringing children from every nook and cranny to bring them to the stadium to get these toys. And this gentleman was working with me, right? So then he asked me, after I tell him that I'm willing to assist the party and give information, he says, "What exactly can you assist with?" So I'm not sure. I'm quite interested.
Yeah.
Hopefully it was just he was asking me what I can do and he wanted me to list it. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. You see, so this is the thing. What does that leave other people who may not have achieved whatever you have achieved? What is their situation?
Yeah.
I'm asking,
Well,
you know.
I'm hoping that it might just be I caught him at a bad time, or maybe he is actually asking me with all the knowledge that I have. Maybe how can I actually assist? So, well, I did reiterate that it's basically information. A lot of it is pro bono. I'm not interested in money. I'm interested in helping. And basically, I'm a doctor. I'm a surgeon. I do surgery. So money is not the problem, really. It is really trying to be of assistance and support a party, right, that has a good leader, a very good leader, a very kind and I mean, I know my neighbor. My neighbor, we were friends for very long since Jamaica when I met her in 1980. So the point about it is that I know this lady and she's a very good lady. So if you have a good leader, then it just means that we can achieve more for the country because she cares for the country. But if some of us in the last government, we were so close and we didn't even get invited to go to the diplomatic center to any events at all. My wife and I used to wonder, well, how come, we're making tomato choker with the boss in the middle of the night and relaxing, but yet we're not getting invited to any functions. And when the Diwali function come and we used to ask ourselves, well, we didn't really care, but it would have been nice. And
Yes,
it is because somebody else was preparing the list and we were not on their best, we were not their best friends. So
yes.
so these are the things that it probably didn't piss us off so much. But what I'm trying to say, this is some of the things that piss off the general the party people who are going to vote you back in. You see, and I think this is where they hopefully will not go down the road again. I just hope that they don't let ego and selfishness and selflessness comes in. They have to know that the most important thing is the party members, and not just the party members, not just the financial members, the people who supported the UNC in this election,
The root.
right? And I think that is what we're talking about. I think Dr. Maraj has said it. Some of you have been saying it over and over, and therefore I think the prime minister has two pillars that she has to look at. One, the government, and two, the party, right? And if she's the leader of the party and of course the head of government, I think clearly she has a responsibility for both. That's just her two scorecards. The dashboard is just those two, but the people around her, that is the important part of this, and they can make her or break her. And if she don't have the people around her, I think the crucial time will be the next 6 to 8 months, where the first budget comes out in October. They have made quite a lot of promises in the elections. One of the biggest promise that I'm scared about is that 10% for the public servants.
Correct.
If that 10% for the public servants, right, don't get implemented, whether they get money from India, China, wherever it is, the point about it is that those people who are within the party and who form a very internal structure, they're embedded in the party now, they're going to give trouble. And if they give trouble, it's going to be trouble. You understand?
Yes, Doc, are you noticing a similar trend to what happened in 2010 to what is happening now?
Well, as I said, I can judge
In your
from
opinion,
I,
in your opinion,
I would say it's, to me, it might be too early because I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, to be honest with you,
And what
right?
sort of time frame then you think you will be able to make
At
an
least
assessment?
when they finish their 100 days,
Uh-huh.
right? And when we get into their 100-day report, and after the first budget, right? After that budgetary debate, and they get some money in their hands, let me see what's happening. Because
Yeah.
right now, I feel I just like Kevin, 4 months from now is a reasonable time where we should start getting some answers from where they're getting their forex, or where they intend to get their forex from, as one. And two, I think where they're going to be getting some money after the budget to see exactly how they can implement some of the projects that they promised. I think if they fail if they fail to deliver, or to give up a reasonable plan of where they're going to get the funds from, where are some of the things that they were hoping to do, even in stages, then I think they might settle down a bit, and then they will say, okay, fine, you know what, let us start to engage and get our people going. But I think right now, it might be too early for me to say, but in answer to your
Yeah.
question directly, yes, they are going down the same line that I saw in when they got into power in the People's Partnership. Um, at that time, I am hoping that doesn't happen. I'm praying that it doesn't happen, but I'm hoping that something. I'm not saying about me. I'm not thinking about me.
When you say we're going down the same line, what do you mean by that? Can you
Same thing.
explain?
Same thing you're talking about. We see where people think that they know everything, and where certain people exclude some of the persons, right, like who have some sort of skill or competency that they can assist with, even pro bono, right? Nobody's asking them for no big contracts or whatever, just to help, just to say, okay, hey, this is my opinion. And even if we get both and they say, no, 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 it's fine. It's just that we want the ability to express our opinion, right? And that most of the times will be evidence based and subject matter. If they exclude that, if they exclude, and they did do that, then I think that could be a problem. You see, in People's Partnership, after 1 year, I was I went for, there was a post advertised, right, as you know, for CEO of the ODPM, and I applied for it. I went in and I was successful in the interview, and I was of course appointed CEO. So during the People's Partnership, I became a government official. So in that capacity, I advised the government on a number of things like the call center, and I worked with the NOC. I developed the NOC with Gary Griffith. I was one of the key players in the NOC concept, with late Rear Admiral Kelshall, who actually chaired the committee. So that I was very much involved. I used to go to the National Security Council because I was one of the advisors of the council as a head of division of national security. So I played a very important role. So I didn't have a problem in the sense, but I was excluded, as I said, from some of the functions that in the diplomatic center and all of these things. And these are some of the functions where dignitaries came, Eid, Christmas, all this sort of thing. And it was just because of people around the Honorable Prime Minister who just didn't see it fit, right, to invite everybody, but some of their friends. In fact, every time you looked at on the television or whatever, you see people who really were just friends of friends of friends. You see, so
You're not in the invited list, and that is the
yeah,
secretariat job, and they have the list of invitees. I
Well,
know how it
yeah,
operates.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
listen,
but
listen. I spent 3 months in the country there, and it was, you know, yeah, boy, yeah, boy, yeah, boy.
yeah,
And
typical.
there were people hiding and playing hide and seek with me. But anyway, me and the prime minister fixed that relationship. So personally, I don't want to see any function. I want certain things done in the country. I value the fact that the prime minister maintains communication, and this is important to me. I could never attend any how to say black tie event. I don't keep ever eating caviar. I care about maintaining communication and getting the things that necessary up and running for the country. You understand? So
Yeah,
they could keep that. They could invite all their friends who they want. I am not
yeah,
interested in that.
yeah.
right.
Gary, I mean, the point is, it's not that was not that was just one of the things that I suggest. I was saying is
No,
that
no, no, no. I
it
know exactly. I know
it
exactly
was
what you're saying,
a
Doc. But
general
and
nonchalant. Yeah,
you are not an ordinary
yeah.
guy. You are not an ordinary guy. You have been to many of those kind of
Correct. I
functions. I
mean,
mean, you
as I
still
say, I mean,
engage in them kind of.
those things right now. Look, even my wife and I, we don't really. Sometimes we just prefer to go up in the beach house and relax on a weekend than to attend some of
Right.
these things. That's where we
Yes.
reach out,
Yeah.
play with my grandchild, that, and then I go to Canada with my daughters who are citizens there just to spend some time with them before I
Yeah.
reach 80 and I go and I pass. The thing is that this is what I'm doing now. But
Yeah.
the point is that listen, we want our country to go forward. All of us here, we can see that as a genuine need. Even if some of you all are abroad, some of us have ties abroad, and it's easy for us to just, with one foot in and one foot out, it's easy for me to just become a permanent resident in Canada and leave. You know what I mean? But I don't like, I mean, I love Trinidad and I want to see things. I want to know that if I get a heart attack in my house, right, or my little grandchild gets seriously injured or fall, that if an ambulance comes, right, that the ambulance has the ability, the paramedics, it has the equipment to save that baby's life or my life, right, at least long enough so that I can reach into the hospital, where when I reach in the hospital I can get care. That's just not for me, that's for other people.
That's a very high priority with me too, because I
Yeah,
experienced that with losing my father, because Trinidad and Tobago was totally lackadaisical and dokedam, like how we like to say it.
yeah,
When we had our episode of where my father, whatever went wrong with
yeah.
him, he
They-
died.
This is the same decision I made. I mean, here I'm here basically for my son's education and my health. That is the only reason I'm here.
yeah,
I love
And
Trinidad
the thing
and
about it,
Tobago so much.
the way things are going here, the way things are going here in the US, I am ready to say hell with it and go home. But there's certain things I have to take into consideration.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Yeah, so we
So
all share, we all have the same background, we share the same concerns. That
yeah,
I myself willing to go back and help. I don't know if it will work out or not. If it doesn't work out, I am entitled to come back here right away. That is no big deal. But
yeah.
the thing when you make a decision to come back home, you come back with everything, you sell what you have to sell and so on. It's a whole moving process.
Yeah.
So
So
on.
man, it's frustrating. I mean,
It
the thing
is.
is, I'm 63 years old, huh? 63 years old, right? I took early retirement at 55 because I didn't get a job in the government of the PNM, right? I applied for every single CEO job of the RHA, every single medical director, executive medical. I mean, listen, I appeared for all. Every time they advertise, people in the ministry or in the hospital will send it for me privately and say, "Oh God, doctor, we want you to come back, apply, apply, apply." I went for every single one, right? And I mean, I for the last 9 years after I left ODPM, I couldn't get back in the government to work, so I had to take early retirement at 55, right? You understand? So 55 and 63, check that. 8 years, 8 years. I had to kind of just be this now. So it'll be very interesting to see now that the UNC has won the election, what is going to happen, but how it is now that you have all this information and you're writing to even look the chief medical officer, right? I went to Canada, right? My endocrinologist looked at me, I'm diabetic, right? I did my heart, I did my angiogram, they found a block, right? I mean, in Trinidad and Tobago, I'm doing my echoes and everything is fine. Doctor says you're great, right? I come to Canada, I do a ECG, bam, there's a little issue they pick up. I go and do my angiogram, I have a 70% block. They have me on things like Ozempic and Jardiance and all sort of thing. So I go back to Trinidad and I say, hey, doc, why don't we get these drugs here? Because I have people in my clinic. Some of these people are obese, right? They have heart problems, they have hip arthritis. I'm an orthopedic surgeon, a trauma surgeon by profession. So my job is spine and hips and neck and cervical spondylosis, and I do operations for laminectomies and fusion and hip arthroplasty and knee surgery. That's what I do. That's what I've been doing since 1990 when I came out of Scotland from the Royal College of Edinburgh and the Royal College of Glasgow, Scotland. Right, that's what I'm doing, and that's what I continue to do on a smaller scale. But the thing about it is that that is the point. Now I have so much to give, And now I probably would not be able to do so again, and I'm not sure why. I just have this feeling that we the only thing we can do is what we are doing here now, and I think Gary has a good idea. Um, improve this team, continue to go through the channels that we are getting to send information. Hopefully we can get some sort of redress, right? Build any sort of membership on the ground that we know and we could engage, and just hope for the best, and continue. And I'm sure that maybe eventually, once we are strong enough, people are going to listen to what we're saying, and there will come a time when help will be needed, and
Doc,
I will be there.
like I
Yeah,
said, I don't have to go through to nobody to get to the prime minister,
yeah,
right?
we'll be
And,
there.
and, and
I
that's
I I
and that's the
share.
fortunate thing for me. If I have to go through anybody to get the prime minister, I would take hell with it.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, quite right. I share the same opinion as Dr. Rambo. I mean, we have all this institutional knowledge. You spend years. I spent 13 years in university.
hmm.
That's not normal. You know, the cost of going to school here, Doc, is
Yeah,
pretty close to 100,000 a year.
amazing.
All my money is I earned, I spent it too much educating myself, but 3 masters and an undergrad degree in economics and so on, technology degree, e-commerce degree, and so on, a master's level. I'm
Right.
upgrading now to the new set of skills: artificial intelligence, data analytics, social media specialist. So I've upgraded all my skills. I have all this institutional knowledge to do what? Just sit at home and watch cricket every day. You know, what is it? What use it is? How can I benefit my country? I want to develop, play my part, pro
Open a
bono,
school.
whatever it is. I don't care. I just
Open a
want to
school.
help.
Open a school in Trinidad.
But hopefully when PM gets UE David campus going, it's just down the road by me. I could ride a bike and get there.
Well,
Hopefully we could
I
probably
do,
get a job to do some teaching. I think that might be
no.
something that
Well,
could work.
I did the restructuring, repositioning on the David campus. Did I send it to you,
No, you need to send that on email for me one side. Yeah, okay.
Gary? Gary,
Yeah,
you have it. I sent it to the boss lady.
yeah. Send it to me, no, because it might be interesting. Yeah,
Yes, I want
yeah,
to make it the MIT of the Caribbean.
yeah. I think that's something that I could retire into because it's right next to me.
Yeah, and not too far from me. I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah, so gentlemen, what I'm saying to you, stop beating yourself up about the people in lower level that won't talk to us, because we are talking to the people that matters above them. So why beat yourself up about that?
yeah. We're
You
not. It's
know?
not. I guess it's just a conversation. It's not
yeah,
that we think. It's
Yeah,
just that sometimes
I,
Gary, you have sometimes if you. I mean, I know I'm a doctor, and I know. I mean, the thing is when you keep your pent up frustration inside, sometimes it eats at you, and you can get sick. The good thing about it is that you have a forum that we could talk.
vent a bit,
We could see,
and
and
we can educate the people. We can educate the
yes,
people.
yes. So through
Um,
education,
But
I think
I want to build something here with the sense that what we discuss. You see, I'm a man of action. When I
yeah,
say something, I expect to put it into transition. So
right,
I am really dependent on you, and our team on the ground there to build our team. We
yeah.
could do a couple of
I
we
need an
could do.
entry point though. I need an entry point. You
yeah,
see, the
yeah,
thing about it is that
yeah.
unless you don't have an entry point,
But
um,
what I'm saying to you
you
is,
you'll
Doc,
circle, and
right?
sometimes you will get flustered. It's like fighting a war, but you need an entry point. You need a break point. You need to get in somewhere to get a little ooze it in.
Listen, we have a lot to talk off here, but what I'm saying to you is that try and see who would be interested in working within your access and contact. See who will be willing to work with us on what we thinking and the thoughts of it. And we
Well,
could do a
I'm
conference. We could do a conference.
definitely we can. What I'll do is there's one person who I know interested, who might be interested. The other thing is that come September, I will be applying for the job of CEO of the ODPM because the current the guy who is there is, I understand, he is his contract has ended, right? So I'm hoping that it will go to the ministry and they will interview me, And I'm hoping, I mean, I'm keeping my fingers crossed, if I get that job back as the CEO of the ODPM, that will allow me to have an entry point. So this is why I told Sumant I didn't want to hold back too much because we're in the public here. But it is basically, I'm telling everybody I'm going to apply for the job, right? So
Right.
if I do get through, right, then it means, therefore, that I will be in a position for people to listen to me because officially I'll be in a position that they would have to listen to me. I'm a government official, right? And,
Right.
and therefore, I will also sit at the National Security Council as a head of division of national security, right? So, which means that there's much can be done in that regard, all right? So, I'm keeping my fingers crossed, and as I said, as far as I see it, I'm a person who served before. I'm eligible to reapply. I held that contract until the contract was not renewed by the PNM government. All right, so let's see. That might be a good entry point. So in the meantime, we will continue to do as Gary, what you're saying. But in the meantime, we will build this team if we can get some other persons to join
Yeah,
us in the discussion. Yeah,
listen, your international contact. Listen, this team here is. I have some people in Canada, but I need some people on the ground, and your contacts in the US here, invite them to join us.
right,
Your contacts in Canada, invite them to join us. So
right.
I need to really get things going. By the time the next election come, I want to be financially equipped to assist with saying, okay, with him helping getting all the votes, the simple thing as getting all the votes is very essential. Paying for a taxi, paying for the transport, paying for the gas, paying for the food, on election day. This is something I want to be able to contribute financially. But not only that, we must also have a team working with us on the ground on getting out the vote in various parts of the country. So, and we would focus on the marginals, but so I mean, I want a physical team on the ground there, and this is my objective. I'm not going to waste time. I did not I did not waste time allowed those who were in authority there to obstruct me. I communicated directly with the prime minister, and we shared ideas and suggestions, and we did what we had to do. you
Yeah,
know
yeah.
so I mean,
Sounds like a plan.
a lot of it you guys don't know what I did, but what I'm saying to you is that because I am fully confident, as long as the communication remains between me and the leader, which is our prime minister, and those that are above, I am not concerned. I need a team to work with me and us here so that we can get the job done. Far as the election part of things is, the other operational things, far as national security, emergency response, that is something I leave to you to spearhead. But I am also pushing for it. But you are the point man in this, far as I'm concerned, with that aspect of things,
Yeah,
and so this is where I'm thinking. But we need to do some conference calls together off here. So let's organize for that when you guys have some time.
sure.
Let me
Yeah,
just make two quick points here. Everybody, my time is coming to an end. That I want to leave pretty soon. So
Right, right.
I listened to what you all just said, and excellent presentation by all of you.
Doc, I want to give you
Doctor,
another night to come and talk about crime. So organize yourself
yeah,
for that.
yeah, I'll come back another time for that because that will take a little while. So let me just say I noticed that Dr. Ramrup mentioned the UN the People's Partnership, and right now there's some similarities in terms of the higher ups in the NATEX. Um, Actually, the friends and family, and because I looked at the corruption index at that time, and it was on the increase. The Trinidad, was not good for the People Partnership because the corruption index rose during that time, and that was a bad. So what Dr. Ramu just said have me taken back again because I really don't want that to happen. So my first contribution here, when I told you all what is the role of the party between election, I think I have to write something down. because this is coming back again all the time, and we did not. It seems that they have nothing on the drawing board. I was hoping that when the prime minister wins the second leadership really soon, that I could address some concern that I would have with what of this. Maybe Gary could pass it if I could pass it to him. I don't want from this committee all of us talking to Kamala. There's one person should be doing the talking. But that is subject to you all. I don't want to control what you want to do. But so I was saying sometime before that the parliamentary arm, because so many of them are involved, and what Dr. Ramo mentioned, at that time I was saying that there are so many of them involved that they need to have a shadow NATEX to work in their place, because there's so much involved and they're out of the country, and so they can't run the party because they were opportunists. They get the chance, and they were NATEX, and therefore it was easy to filter from NATEX into the parliamentary arm, and they get the opportunity, and really they don't care about party. I mean, I just saying they're thinking worse down the line, but hardly likely, because I think that they're genuinely concerned about, they don't want that corruption index to rise while they're there. Secondly, is what does the party do in the interim, and that is what my whole beginning was about that, and I still have that in mind, which I will write something and send it to you all at some point, because I'm very concerned about that. So if they could have, after she win this leadership, if she could, I would like a note to pass to her to tell her what is the role of the party within the election, and why don't you, the NATEX has to be functional. It cannot be dependent on minister here, and they don't have time, because so they have a shadow NATEX, or they can't perform the function. If it is too much for them, please have a by-election. Sure, the party have things for by-election. The third point I want to quickly make here is a personal point I'm observing with what you all are saying, because the party, I came through the NAR system, and I know how it worked there, and I saw all my experiences with them. I was never with the UNC. I was the ONR, and then I was the NAR and nothing else. So somebody like Dr. Ramrup, I mean, the party, the government of the country is better off having him fully integrated into the system. So Trinidad will be a better place because of the motivation, the skills, and the commitment that people like Dr. Ramrup. And I will also mention, even both of the other you, Sumant, you also in the same category, and Gary yourself, the party and the country will be a mess, or will be worse off if they don't find a useful place for all of you. And I'm saying this because I'm not interested in doing it. I gave up position to come to America when I was in the middle of the NAR. So just a month before, when they had the hold up in Parliament, I left and came to this country. So I really not interested at all in anything, but I'm interested in terms of just talking like we're doing now, and that's all I'm interested in, nothing. But really, three of you, in particular, Dr. Ramrup, I think that if I have to, and Gary, you could do this for me. I would like to pass a note to somebody to tell her that here we have somebody to recommend, and please, we're not even telling Ramrup what we'll be doing. We should be doing that outside his knowledge. Maybe so too also would be Sumant at some point, if we could have a conversation also on him. But I think that the country would be better off having you all involved in whatever capacity best suited for the party and for the country indeed. And the party will be better off having you all serve in whatever capacity you best can serve. And I'm sure what I'm saying here, all of you might hold the same view about yourselves, and even Gary might hold the same view, and other people listening might hold the same view, because I'd be shocked that if both of you didn't help the country in our official capacity, even advisory as a special advisor to something. And I hope that will happen pretty soon. But in the meantime, and that's the last point I will make on this whole thing. I said this is my personal opinion, really. Party has to have a connection between people like Dr. Ramrup and Cement and Gary and other people. Let me tell you what happened with me when I was there. The prime minister would say, someone is leaving parliament and we need to have somebody in place. So they go to the secretary, call up the prime minister, calls up the secretary. Do you have somebody standing by? Somebody leaving to go on vacation, and we need somebody in parliament. We have one. We get him right there. Ashford. We want you in Parliament. Get your jacket and come up. Yeah, okay, I'm happy to do that. So there's a process for this to happen. Oh, they want okay, so I was in the National Insurance Board. I never even asked I wanted to go there. Suddenly I found I was appointed and they were told, oh, it's called again and told that you'll be only blah, 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 blah. So never asked for it. I just went in there and so I'm making this kind of point that the party must be on the prowl, looking for people who are first of all committed to their obligations in terms of what they want, where they want the country to go, and secondly, the expertise that they will also need, so it makes them look good. When you appoint people like Ramrup and Gary and you and Sumit, country would look, the party would look good because they're putting in the hands in the right place. They know what they're doing. And Dr. Ram should never be asking anybody. They should be looking for you rather than looking for them. But I understand humility, that's fine. But if I could go back to my own experience, if they don't have a party to function within, this is the hell loose for them. They cannot win the next election if they don't know how to operate within elections. Unfortunately, they have it on the table now. Don't flaunt it. Don't
Doc,
throw it away.
Doc, you trying
Yes,
to
sir.
advise people that know everything and have everything together?
So,
So
like, you want to advise people what?
you trying to advise people that know everything?
Um,
Look, that is
I
your
well,
point.
well,
I not
I,
wasting time.
I,
I tell you, you
I,
guys don't seem to get it. I am not
yeah,
wasting time with the party executive,
right,
right? Because I
right.
could talk to the prime minister. So
That's
if
what I'm
I have
saying.
to give her
So
an advice,
that's right.
I
That is
have
the
to give her
party.
an advice. I give
She
her
is
an
the party.
advice,
She,
and
she's the leader.
right. So
She's the
I
leader.
am not
Right,
I am not even going wrong that road again. I'm telling you,
right,
let's build our team both inside and outside the country to get
right.
people to work with us. I am not bothering to work with the party.
Right, but she is the party. You have the connection already, so there's nothing that
What I'm
answered the
saying to you
question.
is, I am working with the leader because
That's right.
I have
But she is
tried
the
to be
party.
nice. I have tried to
Yeah,
be nice. I
yeah,
tried to form a connection with them,
right,
and the people underneath the leadership has no interest.
right.
Okay. So,
So the people I'm talking about, so there must be a system. It could be the leader, it could be the
no,
secretary, it could be the
I don't.
chairman, it
No,
could
no.
be
I
whoever.
don't. Listen to me. I don't want to put the leader in a position where she gets into battle with them for me. I have
Right,
it already where I can talk with her,
right. So
and
that's what I'm
I
saying.
don't want
So
she
without
to have.
right,
Listen, I don't want she to have unnecessary backbiting because she tell them they have to work with me. You understand? We have a good relationship, and I am happy where it is at, and I am not there to compete with nobody. I'm here to get the job done. I am
right. So
long as the
right. So
necessary
Gary,
information.
I presume then that you will be taking my advice what I told you just now.
Right. So whatever you have to say, I pass it on,
Yeah.
and it's up to the leader to make a decision.
Right.
But I don't want to create any conflict between her and them and me because
So
they
I
have
told
already
you already that
demonstrated.
I
Yeah.
told you. Let me repeat what I just said. You maybe didn't hear me. Um, there are two gentlemen in front of me right now, and I'd like to make a recommendation. The party will be better off utilizing the skills and services. So if the best person, as you said, if you know that that's the best way to go, if you could go there,
These
I
two
prefer that.
gentlemen have been in
But
contact,
I'm
and
sure
they
you
have
must have
made
done it before.
and they have
I don't
made
have to
their
recommend. You must have
recommendation.
known that yourself anyway. So go ahead.
Yeah, so
Go
I
ahead.
mean, the two gentlemen, the information has been before the leader. I mean, we have to give her
Okay.
some time to breathe. There's a lot to be
Good.
done,
Good. No, not
and
so.
I don't want to rush her. I don't want to put her in a bad situation. I don't want to create
Right.
unnecessary stress for her. I am here to
Right.
support her in the best way I can. And eventually, listen to me. Will eventually get around to doing what she has to get done. But I don't want to create a conflict and put her under pressure where the people start to act up against her because she asked them to work with me. I don't want that.
Yeah.
So like I said, I whether she's prime minister or not, we have a relationship, right? And we have a good family style relationship. We talk on that level. She don't, she's not high and mighty. She's very down to earth and easygoing, and I have a good relationship with her. And when she leaves office, we will still be friends and in contact. So I do the best I can. And what I would like to do again is to build our team so by the time the next election, our team is watching her back on the ground by function. I need some soldiers on the ground. I need to be able to raise the finance to provide some refreshments and the cost of the operation when the election comes around. That our people who working with us, that we can able to help put out some money in the election day and make sure these people eat, make sure they have transportation. Those who will collaborate us, give them a little change. That is what I want to do. I am not wasting time going through the party. I've been there, done that, and I want to build our team. Dr. Rambo, you have some contacts on the ground with Rotary and things like that. So whoever wants to join our team, the door is wide open. Let's build our own team, please.
And not only that, in Dr. Ashford, is not only Dr. Ramrupan and myself, but anyone here who is residing, let's say that we know of in the US, who has special skills and so on, who are willing to go back home, we should be able to afford to them that same opportunity as well.
Exactly, and to work with us here. The door
Yeah.
I have opened the door many times for people to join our team here, so that we could do a little fundraiser, share ideas, whatever it is.
No, I think Dr. Ashford was mentioning something different. He was mentioning about Dr. Ramrup and myself. But what I'm saying, there may be other people here in the US we may know or may not know
Yeah, most definitely. There are a lot of skilled people here, highly
who have
qualified people.
skills that are urgently needed back home, right? There should be, if they're willing to go and offer their services at a minimal cost or whatever give them the chance and give them the opportunity. That's all I'm saying. That you don't have to be
Well,
a
listen to me.
high
If
price.
I have done so. When I got a hold of Parum, I sent out his information even before we was in government. So the thing about it is that I will circulate those who and it's up to them. They have a pile to pick from, but they also we have people that keep left the country, expanded their skills, and I cannot understand why a person in such high level of medical expertise like Dr. Ramrop will be rejected, and it cost the country because we definitely needed help in that aspect. His skills are very much needed.
Yeah, but Gary, that is commonplace. Everybody, senior officials in ministries and so on, they hog the limelight on everything.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
don't
yeah.
want
But
to,
I'm
they
saying,
don't want they
but we
don't
have
want
to
to
expose these things because
they
it
don't want to
costs the
feel
country.
they don't want to feel threatened. They
Yeah,
feel that
it
if they
costs the
employ
country.
you or me or anybody else, Dr. Ram, hey, you know what? This guy is coming after my job. Yeah,
Yeah,
so it's a territorial and turf kind of thing.
But we have to light them up because you see the thing about it, it is costing the country tremendously not to have these people within
Correct.
the position to help.
Correct.
So I am not playing games with anybody that does that, because of their own selfish reason. This is about improving the service delivery of the country because people like myself would like to come back there and I want to make sure if I have an emergency, just like Dr. Ramo, that I get the proper response
Yeah, correct.
and care. And
Yeah.
every one of us, I'm sure you yourself, Dr. Maharaj, that these are the things that we concern about.
Yeah.
That
You see, Gary, and I think the trick, you see, here, this is the little catch 22. All right. One of the key things, according to the manifesto, let's take for example, is to improve and put a cath lab, a cardiac cath lab in all the major hospitals. Is that correct? It
Yep.
was said, right?
Yep.
The Minister of Health, Honorable Lakram Bodo, did actually even say that in Tobago. And he went there looking at the cath lab that was existing in Tobago. And they have a very good cath lab. I had the opportunity of looking at it myself. So one of the principles, one of the fundamental requirements in all the journals of healthcare, in all the articles and studies in terms of having a cardiac program, is to have what? A proper pre-hospital program with paramedics on the ground. In other words, then you could have all the best tertiary cath labs in the world, and if you can't bring salvageable persons to that hospital and they die before they reach there, it don't make sense. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, the
So
90-minute
it
I
window.
had him
it
here on
has
this program
it
about
has
two
to
or three
be the
times,
point.
and he
The point
discussed
is
that.
that it has to be taken in a holistic way. So by trying to have one item, which is very important, and you have to have your cardiac cath labs because a lot of people are dying prematurely, if you want to put it this way. But there are certain persons who are able to get to that hospital, and you can save them in the prime of their life, in their 40s and early 50s, who are dying at home, right? Dying in their cars on the highway because when the medics reach, they can't get the heart going and keep it going until they reach the hospital. So, what I'm suggesting, therefore, is that somebody has to listen to this team and say, well, look, hey, whilst you're doing this, we also have to start the training, right, of some of our constituents, some of the people, right, in EMT 1, 2, and 3. That is EMT basic, intermediate, and paramedic. So let us develop those training programs. Let us develop a strategy for it. So it has to be a holistic approach. All right. And this is where if we can get information inside and say, well, look, guys, while you're doing this and while you're going to be developing the budget in October, money is going to be allotted to health, right? For all the programs that they're going to have. They're going to get a budget. So let's say that part of that budget, do you have in that budget that you're planning to outfit those cath labs, a budget to train the people who could bring a person to the cath lab? You understand? So this is the kind of little inputs that need to be made even before October, right? And therefore we can only do it through the Prime Minister. That's what we are saying right now.
Well, Doc, can you draft something for me and put that in writing? Because I did. This is some discussion that we had many times. I even had Dr. Bodo on this program here. That what I was interested in, and he agreed with me. So I know he's kind of pretty busy, but at the same time, I also reiterated that you was willing to assist while he's working with
Yeah.
on other
I,
things.
I, I will definitely do that, and I could
And,
throw it out. That could be done in
Yeah,
15
but
minutes.
like
So
I
I
said,
could I
I
could
did
send that
mention
out,
to him.
yeah,
I
and
did mention in a message that
yeah,
you, while he was busy doing other things, that you could be putting these things together.
yeah,
uh,
So,
and Gary, not to mention, I had the fortunate opportunity to ride in an EHS vehicle as part of my, AI training in cardiology and see what the process. I was looking more at the AI a contribution to it from the EHS point. Exactly what Dr. Rama was mentioning. You could have the best cardiac, you know, cath lab in the world, and if you can't get the person in there into the lab itself, what use is it?
to get them there alive,
You got them there alive, and I had the opportunity to
and
ride.
I am not a doctor, but I've seen situation where a person's heart can go so low, and you think they're dead, and they're not really dead.
No,
And I even saw one instances in, I think it was in the New York Times, where a doctor made a decision to submerge that person in ice, and he ended up
nice, yeah.
saving their life.
Yeah,
You know,
so this is part of the training I had to undergo too, and I saw it in firsthand riding on
So the skills of Dr. Rambo is something that is highly needed, and we need to get it up and running. So I did make all the effort, and but I just want him to, just like how you put the email, if he can put that email together and his recommendation, and I will make sure that I kind of endorse it.
Yeah, they talk about the 90-minute window, but if you can't reach the hospital within a certain specific time frame, what use is a 90-minute window?
Some people may not have 90 minutes,
No, you don't need 90 minutes. You have to be much less than that because they have to, within that 90 minutes, the team has to be on the ground. So when the ambulance is reversing into that cath lab area, it's all hands on deck. They're ready to go. They have a bed assigned to you, or, the whole paraphernalia of things is ready, waiting. They're just waiting on the patient. They have the specialized ICU nurses. Everybody is there already, and the communication channel between the ambulances and that team.
and the quicker we get this program up and running, is the better. You know.
So you see, forget the cat labs for the time being. Focus at least.
No. I won't say forget it. It has to work simultaneously.
Yeah, it has to, certain things have to be in place. And why wait on the budget to do these preliminary things, which we can afford to do the training and so on, with the expectation of opening the cat lab somewhere in the future. These things can be done beforehand. Don't wait till the day they got a budget for the cat lab. Oh, and now we're going to start this. No. They are simpler. These are the low-hanging fruits, which we always talk about. So we have to get that side of it going. Don't wait whenever they decide to open a cat lab and then look at the procure ambulances, for example, and that process takes 6 months or a year to complete. At Tobago, it took them, so long to get 4 ambulances. They finally got some this year and some were not working and this kind of crap. So all these
is
logistical
it
things,
an ambulance with a donkey cart with flashing lights?
well, it's some refurbished things. Anyway, I know the whole story, but I ain't going to get
An ambulance is when it's fully equipped.
If they don't have that, what they have was some modified vehicle, and they got in the flak because in Tobago, I don't know if you know, the terrain is not that flat like in Caroni or Shogunas and so on. Terrain is up and down hill and hollow, valleys, mountains, like that, sharp bends, cornering, and some cases the ambulance or the vehicle itself was not able to go up the damn hill. So these are the things, we need to put in place beforehand rather than wait for the cat lab, so to speak, to be in operation. These are think of it as prerequisites before you can implement something. So that's my 2 cents on it. Anyway, guys, I think it's 11 o'clock now, and we can call it a day.
Yeah, it was a good discussion, and I think it was a little time to vent sometimes. Some of the
No. That's important. That is
the
important.
frustrations we have.
The thing is that the thought is common. I share the same views, and I don't know why do I stand. I hope you get the job. You may be offering something.
I'll apply.
I don't know.
The thing is,
we wish you well. I wish you well at least.
It's going to hopefully it'll be a open advertisement for people. If they do the thing right and they want to do it right, well, fine. Other than that, I'm an incumbent and I was there before. PNM didn't advertise the position; they just brought in the guys. But if the UNC wants to do it properly, they should advertise it, and let's see what happens.
Yeah. Well, definitely have my blessings, and I wish you get through.
Yeah.
So Doc, let's draft that recommendation.
I'll do that. What I can do is probably just Sumant, you could share your email with me. I'll send it to you first, and I just want you to look at it because what will happen is that there's going to be the AI component, right? Which which you can just put your piece in. You know what I mean? Because obviously, if we're gonna deal with the training, we also would have to deal with the advice on the type of buses that needs to be taking these patients in, and what are required on the buses to to facilitate that. And I will definitely look at the contemporary AI systems that would be incorporated into that type of activity.
Has to be outfitted for medical care.
No problem, not at all.
And that's your expertise there. So look at what we have and make a recommendation how it can be improved.
Yeah.
Dr. Rami, I will send you what I was deeply involved in the manifestos, about 5 of them.
Right.
And I did basically the one on health to a large extent.
Right.
technology was the other one, education was the other one, AI was the other one. Thank God the week I recommended that we set up a Ministry of Technology and AI, the very next week I heard she say it on the platform.
Right.
So I was very happy that at least somebody is listening.
Yeah, but keep in mind, right, that all our good intention, we have to be able to get the funding, and maybe while they are sorting that out, but I still want to make the recommendation, so that they can focus on how the funding goes. You know,
Yeah. One of the
so it get
one of the
priority.
things that
You know what I'm saying, right?
one of the things that I'm hoping that Dr. Bodo does very quickly is that he needs to well, you see, this is the problem that we have had. The audit departments of the RHAs, they do mostly financial audits, right? But process audits is
Yep.
something that the quality department is supposed to do, but really and truly they don't have the competency, right? The people who are supposed to do their quality audits would look at ambulance, for example, the whole pre-hospital care system coming into the emergency rooms.
Processes
And
and workflows.
correct. And before you develop a cardiac cath lab, or if you don't have one and you want to put in one, you definitely need to have key data and key data sets coming in from your pre-hospital care, and of
That's
course
it.
a lot of it on your wards and how they're dealing with your cardiac patients in the general wards, and then in the ICUs and the step down units. So there's going to have to be some data analysis, and that is not very difficult, and that should be done now, so that as part of the audit, or as part of the assessment of the hospital, I did text him a couple of days ago, and I indicated that there are 11 key performance indicators that you can look at when you benchmark, hospitals. When I saw what was happening in Tobago, and he visited Tobago, I sent a WhatsApp, and I said, well, what we definitely need to do is to have these KPIs measured, or at least the data are there. It's just for you to pull it and ask somebody in the ministry to pull it together. So maybe your research department, I'm sure there's one in the Ministry of Health, get the R&D department to pull all this data together, right, and start do a qualitative and quantitative analysis, and work with the quality departments of all the RHAs, so that you begin now to have some data driven approach to the implementation of the manifesto, right? So once you begin to do that now, it makes what you're doing, it actually is on a firm structure. It's actually, institutionally strong. So we definitely need to look at the current pre-hospital system coming in, and then maybe look at the death rates in terms of cardiac deaths, in terms of the certification of death at home, to see who we're missing, how many persons that we're missing, right? From saving them, because they died at home with a cardiac problem and they were not able to come to the hospital alive. So that will give us an idea of how much persons you would probably, when you develop your cardiac cath lab, how much persons you will be trying to save now, because what will be a throughput of that cardiac cath lab, and that will also now determine your expense, right? And that will determine your budgetary allocation for the cardiac cath lab, not just for the development of the cath lab, but your usage of the cath lab. So it might be easier for us to have just one or two cath labs right now, have them well functioning, right, and move the patients to those, rather than having four cath labs in the country. And this is what has to be done now, so that we can have a more data driven approach to these things. So these are some of the things that we're hoping we can help Dr. Bodo with, even before the budget, as Sumant was saying.
And again, yes, doctor. In addition, these type of jobs, it really requires some training and so on, because I don't think the resident analytical skills are there within the ministries, the research department, the statistical, and that quantitative and qualitative analysis. The qualitative part, yes, but the quantitative part, there are no, let's say, positions in the ministries, not only in health, but none of the ministries I know, even in the R&D department, that require data analysts or data scientists on these type of skill set. So again, you'll have, hey, okay, you in R&D, see what you could do with that for me. But without the skill set, the accurate skill set or the relevant AI skill set to work along with the existing skill set is none of just not available.
Yeah. So
So
that's what I was suggesting, and this is what I had suggested in the first set of programs, that if the Prime Minister allows us to have a think tank,
that's now we're talking.
that
Is what I was.
that works through the party system, right, under the supervision of maybe the strategic officer, who is Saddam Hussein, right? If you could say, well, look, let Saddam head that, since he's the NATEX representative for strategy, right? And not just party strategy. I mean, this is strategy now for the government, because you have now one government. So therefore, there's a component you have to add.
The development strategy for the island, the
that's
15
correct. So it's once before you were trying to win the election, that's your major strategy. But now that you have one government, that you now have to include in that department now strategy to retain government, and also to maintain government and sustain government. You see, and one of the key elements of sustaining government is to have these high impact programs, right, with legacy issues to win the election, but not just that, to make your country more resilient in terms of all the areas of service, right? So I think this is where, hopefully, if she can say, well, look, okay, Gary, let us work with Saddam, who is a strategy officer, create a think tank, get the people together, let them sit down with him, and let us strategize now, and let us provide that advice now to all the relevant ministries that would need it. We now here talking about AI, we're talking about public administration, we're talking about planning and development when we come to things like zoning, creation of water retention, the dikes, the parks, all of these things. We talk about healthcare in terms of the pre-hospital care, the cath labs. Now we're talking about forensics, the training of forensic psychologists and forensic anthropologists, or as a regional forensics training center at UWI-DB. We talk about development of DB. So all of this could come under that. So we could keep begging her over a period of time to let us meet with Saddam, let us meet virtually even, let us suggest the think tank. Once she formalizes that, then other persons, I feel, will come on board. I think if we say...
listen to me.
Yeah.
We have Saddam in the group. I have his number. You could message him directly.
Yeah.
Don't bother with the other person that you reached out and didn't show any interest.
Okay. All right.
But Saddam, even though he's busy, he will eventually get around to you.
And Saddam knows my son well. He knows me well. I think let us work through him on the strategy.
But
let us see what could happen.
But don't underestimate the fact that our team here has an impact, because I mean, before I brought you on Suman on this here, I was making a tremendous amount of impact in the way I was doing things. So we are not restricted to the fact of the party executive. All right. So we are, nothing will restrain her. I just want you to put those recommendations together. And as you think of something, that's like how you do, you put it out there. It's in everybody's face, and we'd also put it in an email now. So I have sent everything that you sent to me.
Right, good. So what you can do, Gary, since you have Suman's email, maybe Dr.
I'll put it in a WhatsApp chat for you.
Create the email group, so that once you send it, and we can actually send it as a group, or we can send it directly depending on if we need to. Yeah.
So I will send you Suman email. You see,
and I can send you my things right away, Doc. So just look at it. The David Campbell thing, and what
I'll put it in the chat so you guys can see who email it is, and then send
it.
But if you notice when I send the link, I do include everybody's email in it,
Yeah, well, okay, probably I didn't really go down and read down emails. But if it is, then it's not a problem. I'll get it from that. Yeah.
And I mean, exactly what Doc is mentioning is exactly what I mentioned a couple of times on our earlier meetings, that we should have a think tank team. UNC should have a think tank team.
Yeah.
For will cater for all
Yeah.
the ministries. So you
So
have
we could get the external experts who, some of
yes,
them, as you say,
correct.
we're looking for experts. Maybe if
Yes.
we throw it out to some of our people, they
Oh,
might be able to do it pro bono, because there are people who are Trinidadians and they are part of the diaspora and they want to help. We could do that initially, and if we
But
find that there's a need for any,
that is
you know,
what this platform is here
yes.
for.
So we
Um,
let us. I think that's a good idea. Let us, if I may say so myself, let us do that, and let us beg to get some of the data sets, right, in some of the key ministries, especially the ones that are a priority now. And I think that
health and
I think the hospital
crime.
system, pre-hospital. Look at what's happening in Tobago. So carefully, definitely. I mean, if ambulances are bringing patients to a hospital and that hospital is filled, but all they're doing is taking them from one point and dumping them to another point, and the hospital has to close down, then clearly there's a miscommunication between your pre-hospital system and your hospital
but
system.
keep in mind also,
Yeah,
Doc,
yeah,
that you in that chat that I put you in, everybody's there. Most
yeah.
of the people are there. So when you say something, it is being read.
Right. So I'm hoping that it is. I mean, because sometimes when I look, I see 4 people online, 5 people online. But hopefully, because you see what happens to Gary, you know what happens. If I send you a WhatsApp, right, before you know it, right, you have about 25 WhatsApp, from a lot of other people. I mean, from different groups and things. Because you're a busy man,
Yeah,
Sumant, I'm
yeah, yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I think. So when you really look down now, are you scrolling through now and you see Ramroop send a PDF file on NOC, you know? Um, Maybe out of the 10 ministers who might look at it, I'm just saying, I'm using that as an example. Maybe the ministers of national security probably would just even glance at it and say, you know what I mean? So, I mean, yes, it's a good thing. Email is good because sometimes they might have other people reading their email. Once they become ministers, a lot of people don't read their emails. They put it to the secretary to screen emails and then send it to them. If you know what I mean, it
Yep. Yep.
happens. You
Yeah.
know,
That's,
so you're not even sure if you're getting to them. So sometimes look right now. I mean, I spoke to Wayne Sturge about a 4 week, 3 week, 4 weeks ago, and he replied to me. He said, "Speak, go through his I don't know if it is his advisor or whatever it is." And I sent her a message. I called her. She answered. She said okay, and it was all about trying to meet with him. Having a 15 minute either virtually or whatever. And so far, no reply from her. You know what I mean? So obviously they're very busy, and I mean obviously they
Well,
can't do everything. So
I would recommend that you reach back out to him and say that you're still
yeah, well,
trying
I
to
did.
schedule.
I did. I mean, I WhatsApp him. See if you see, I don't like to call these people. I mean, obviously, you might get them at a bad time, and so I send the WhatsApp, and I
Yeah.
mean, I WhatsApped him about 3 times and said, well, I haven't been able to get through your advisor or whatever. I still want to meet with you, so hopefully, when you get some time, I wouldn't mind. So I mean, that's about 4 WhatsApp after. So again, it's what's happening. It's what's happening. They're
Yeah.
probably too busy, so let us continue to do both. I would definitely let us go through the strategic officer of the NATEX. I think working through that system, we might be able to say, hey guys, this is our strategy. We would like to say, well, we want to help, but we want to provide a data driven approach to what you're doing. We know that the ministry has a lot of competent people, but they may not have that additional managerial competency. A lot of them are technically good. A lot of them could look at the data and tell you X, Y, and Z, but they are not able to interpret that data
that's the point.
with a holistic look at everything, not just a political bias as well, which some of us would have a political viewpoint or a lens, but we're looking at it through a political lens as well as we're looking at it through an expert lens, you see? Or we could get those experts to give that opinion so that we now could pull it as managerial persons who have MBAs or whatever, who have a more holistic approach in terms of looking at it as a business approach to going forward.
And that
Whereas they
is,
will look at it as a technical approach, and our
yeah.
experts might look at it as a subject matter expert. We will look at it with Saddam and Inatex, and who will come on board as through a political lens, because it has to be politically correct as well. And
Correct.
we will look at it as a managerial business approach, right? Taking the expert as well as the technical expertise, as well as the people in the ministry, and taking that data set and saying, guys, listen, we want to do the cat labs, but we think that we should do it in a stepwise manner. And this is in terms of money. I'm just giving an example. So we don't want to be, to belabor the point and drag it on. But this is what I'm saying.
Yes, that makes complete sense to do it like that. And not only that, it has to be forward thinking. At the end
But
of the
doc,
day,
it could be done in
yeah,
this way, right? While Dr. Budu is working on certain things, he could say, "Well, Dr. Rambo, you handle this thing, and then we all collaborate at this, when it in the end factor, here,
Yeah, and
where so you."
we're willing to do it free. Yeah? And I
Yeah,
mean,
I
we
didn't
have a
mention, but I'm
network. Yeah,
saying this is how I
yeah,
look at it, right?
yeah.
While he's busy trying to put the cat lab together, you know how that works, and you could be working on putting the emergency medical team together
Yeah.
to work with that cat
Yeah,
lab.
that is definitely, because I mean, did it? I mean, been there, done that. I did do that already with
Yeah, so it's
CME1.
not like you guessing what should be done. You know
Yeah,
what
we
has to
did
be
that
done,
already. Yeah,
right?
it's almost
So
like
I don't
rehearsing what I did
see.
already.
So I see both can be working simultaneously.
Definitely,
So
definitely. I mean, as I
the
said, with that now, it will. You see, with that, we would need those data sets to see exactly for what are the number of admissions to all hospitals,
yeah, you
how
can
many of
get.
them are hospital brought in pre-hospital, what is the level of acuity that they have been brought in, how many persons have died en route. So all of these now will allow us to know how much persons to train, right? Where we need to train them, because clearly we have to train them for Tobago, Port of Spain, Eastern Regional Health Authority, down in Cedras, whatever. So we have to balance it. So clearly all of that that is this. That's business. Ministry people
This
can't
is
do
the
those
thing.
things. That's like
This is
managing a business.
correct, and this is why metrics and KPI. This is foreign to them.
Yeah.
I mean, they have it written by who, which the monitoring and evaluation unit in any ministry is the one who's
You see,
supposed to see about
Sumant,
that.
you worked in the ministry and you
I can tell you
realize,
that I
yeah,
know the M&E section
yeah,
is
you know that the ministries. I mean, as I said, I work in two ministries: Ministry of Health and Ministry of Health and National Security. And there are no CEOs there. There are no managers. There are no persons who are trained in business management. They don't run it like a business. It's purely a technical and a subject matter. A lot of people who went up and to permanent secretaries, they don't have training in management. They don't have training. They can't be. They're not CEOs. So the
this
ministry system don't have that level, and
this
and
is
and, and that is what hopefully we were hoping that public administration would do. Maybe they could look at now having some executive coaching, right? In rather than them now having to go to courses and things, a lot of them could be doing it on the job, and they have
yeah.
virtual training that could be done as well now. So that is part of it. Maybe we can begin to train up some of these deputy PSs, some of these younger people who are coming into the system, and give them some managerial training courses, so they begin to convert the public service into a business process.
And
You
that
know,
is important because, doc, like yourself, you have an MBA, I have an MBA, but I also have the technical ability. You have
correct?
the subject matter ability, medical ability. So here is it, you have your specialization is in two different areas, both management and your study of your medical knowledge.
Yeah,
I have my MBA as well as my IT experience, as well as the AI and data experience.
yeah,
So that combination of skills make you unique, both
yeah,
from the technical side, the subject matter side, and the management side. So
yeah,
you cover your bases all around. So
yeah,
that's why when I had to measure something, first thing I look is the metrics. What are we measuring?
yeah.
Because you get
How
a
how
baseline for
how
this.
can you improve something if you don't know
What
what
is
something is existing at what level it exists?
the
You can't say
starting
that you're
point?
going from
Yeah.
point A to point B if you don't know what point A is. And that is what we are hoping, that we talked about this, that the current government, these boys and them, that they are now trying to find out what A is. So after they find out what A is, we give them June, July. Now we have August. We're giving them the 100 days, at the end of the 100 days, we're hoping that they reach a situation where they have a fairly good understanding of what A is. So to take it to B, right, they should conduct a gap analysis, see what exactly they require, right, and hopefully by October, right, when the money has to be allocated and you get your money from the Ministry of Finance, then you say, okay, I will take that money now and put it into these areas because I want to get the B within the next year, right? And that's simple, and that's all we have to make sure that we can get, well, hopefully, I'm saying, get Saddam to understand and say, okay, guy, let us see if you can get the Prime Minister to give us a niche, right? It's not dangerous. It's just that we're going to be part of the strategic team, and we will give you some advice, and we will ask for these certain data sets to be provided, right, under confidential cover, right, into our system, so that we can begin to look some of the simple data. Now, one of them will be the audit of the COVID, right, where we don't mind having a ministry audit, but one of the most important things is that yes, I'm suggesting you can't audit yourself. You can provide the data, right? Audit some of the businesses, whatever it's said, but you cannot do a quality audit, right? A quality and assurance analysis of yourself, right? That should come to an external quality assurance team so that we can look at it and say, okay, guys, this is what I think you need to do. You know what I mean? You can't be judging yourself when it comes to quality. Quality has to be judged with an external team.
Quite right.
All right, guys. So I think let's put the things that is necessary in writing and see how it goes. I would like
Sure.
to Doc. I'll give you a call tomorrow and we'll talk
Yeah.
a little bit more.
Okay.
All
All right.
right. Yeah.
Good,
So
guys.
Suma, we could talk about this on the phone a little bit in a
All right, yeah.
conference call.
All
All
right,
right.
guys. Take care.
All right then. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Yeah,
Thank you everyone for joining us
no
and
problem.
see
Gary, you
you
can send,
soon. Thank you.
can,
Good night,
can
everybody.
you can you send me Doc's email by chance?
It's in the chain of email, but I'll WhatsApp you. All right.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll send this thing now. Right.